Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the EGFC Season 2 Week 12 matchups of the day. I'm Shadow24, joined by Jag, and we are going to be starting things off with Marist College taking on DePaul University.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that first game that we had in our lineup, Siena and Cincinnati, has been postponed due to some scheduling stuff, so that'll be played at a later date off stream. But like you said, Marist versus DePaul, and I think this could be a game that could be a bit of an upset if DePaul comes up clutch, but Marist has been one of the best teams all season long. They did have a bit of a hiccup against St. John's where they lost. They also dropped a map last week, so they're not as consistent as they have been, and DePaul is coming off a win of their own. So I don't know. I think this could be a toss-up here.
Well, we're going to be starting off on a map where I kind of expect Marist to take it here just because it's been in the map pool for quite some time. Ilios is going to be our first map. And composition-wise, what do you expect to see these teams bring to that map?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like Ilios probably is the map that least suits the meta right now. We thought it'd be double bubble after Wrecking Ball was nerfed, and it's gone to Ryan, Zarya, May, McCree, Lucio, Baptiste. That's like the major comp I've seen for the most part. So here in Ilios, that doesn't work out on some of the points, especially like Ruins it can, Lighthouse it can, but I think is where we'll see a lot of different unique things come out. So I'm really hoping that we do get a chance to see at some point.
As long as we get a Wrecking Ball, I'm going to be happy. I think that's something that we all know makes me very excited. Sadly, however, not expecting to see that. But support-wise, a lot of variation in the meta right now. You can go with Fiona if you want to, but the Baptiste recently been more of a mainstay in some of the compositions.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've talked about this a few times, different places, but when you look at the meta that we have now versus what it used to be with Brawl, it's virtually the same thing except for two swaps. One of those is the Baptiste coming in replacing the Moira. In the past, Ana has been an option as well because those anti-nades can be huge, but the problem is that it's not AoE healing. With Moira, you get a lot of that AoE, so everyone can get healed up, and the Coalescence can really enable you in a team fight. Baptiste, very similar. AoE healing with his grenades. He has his passive ability that you can use on cooldown that heals everyone up as well, and his Inflication Matrix can create a lot of space. So a lot of similarities, but the biggest thing is the Immortality Field. It's gotten nerfed quite a bit since it was first released, but it's still very, very strong. It's a mini Transcendence at your disposal pretty quickly, and if you can heal your team up and keep them alive through a lot of other things, I mean, that's just one more way to get back into a fight. The other thing I want to talk about when it comes to meta is a McCree over the Reaper. I think that's something that people weren't expecting. McCree, though, has gotten buffed in a lot of different ways. Higher rate of fire, a little bit more healthy with 25 more extra health, and Reaper then just got kind of nerfed a little bit. I would say he got rebalanced in terms of he can do a lot more damage mid-range, but he's not as much of a tank damager as he used to. He used to just destroy Winston's. Now, I mean, Winston got buffed in their own right, but just in general, doing less damage to tanks. So the McCree is usually what most teams are going for.
And I'm totally down for that. As playing a little bit of comp with me today, I do favor my McCree. I don't think I'm great at it, but I will learn one day how to get those flashbang fan the hammers combinations down. But looking at the map pool for the rest of the day, we are going to be going on to Eichenwald, Temple of Anubis, Rialto, and Busan. That in order is going to be the makeup of our map pool. And I, for one, super excited that Eichenwald is the second map in the map pool. I think it is a really good map to really test the mettle of a team. You get a lot of different elements throughout those 3 points.
And I think we could see some variation. I think Ryan is still pretty strong, but I have seen Ryan Orisa bringing that back from the dead just a little bit. There could be double shield coming out in terms of other combinations like Sigma and Orisa. So there are a lot of possibilities. I think when it gets to the second point, that's where things get the most interesting because there's that high ground on the castle, right? And I think that's really where teams can sink or swim. If you've got a good defense, you're able to play the high ground and then contest cart when it matters most. You can hold very strongly there, but if you don't even play the high ground at all, you just try to play the low ground, that's where attackers really get a big advantage. I mean, it's not as vertical as some other games, but Overwatch still, that's a very important thing to have to try to take the best angles possible.
That indeed, but speaking of sink or swim, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and grab your bathing suits because we are going to head on into our map of Ilios right now. And as we start things off, Marist, the red team, will be kicking it off in the blue. DePaul, the blue team, going to be kicking it off in the red. Nothing like a little bit of a swip swap to start things off.
Yeah, I feel like at this point our producers do it just to challenge us. We see you
Yeah,
build, we
yeah.
see you juke, we see what you're doing here, but no, it's teams that decide where to start. But yeah, that is gonna be a bit of a switch. But so are some of these comps. I mean, what we're seeing from either side is not very similar at all. I'd be very surprised. Actually, maybe not if Tay stays on the Orisa because Orisa can just kind of stand still and try to hold the choke and play farther away from the well. But on the other side, DePaul, they're gonna be running a dive, so two very different comps coming out, and this is why I love well. It's the most unique round that we're going to see here.
Well, look at that as the team compositions settle in. DePaul are going to be making themselves a little bit of a home just across from Marist College. Both teams just getting a little bit of a read on what the other has to offer, gathering in what his composition is happening and how exactly do we take about this. Point now open, and we're going to see DePaul kind of turtling a little bit now, going for the attack onto the D.Va. Gonna have to scare them back. Traders finding themselves a little bit of health, but the aggression from DePaul paying off as they take the first point. Now, Marist having to stabilize a little bit, but the damage not there at the moment. Vocal continuing to try and get a little bit of boost. Almost gets it onto Echo Loco, but able to get the boost out of the well. And now, Traders face mask showing up in the kill feed in spades. DePaul going to have to be dwindling down. They get the first control, but unless Prime can clutch this one out, yeah, Marist is going to be able to stabilize and take it back.
I mean, that's a great first fight for DePaul. They get almost 1/4 of the point for themselves, but they just aren't able to follow it up. I mean, Taze, now that Orisa buff, can survive so much when they go in to the Fortify. So that they use that there, they're able to walk away from their shield. They're not just a sitting weapon. They can kind of be a bit more mobile. And it's interesting because they have the Lucio, so even though it's not a brawl comp, they can rotate to different parts of the point.
Favoring this little bodega, if you will, this cubby off to the left of point. Face miss, 92% to that pulse bomb. Going around on the flank, looks like they might be able to find this Ana. Looking for the one clip, isn't able to land it, goes for the 180 blink, but the sleep dart lands from Obscure. And that's going to put Face Mist out of the fight completely as the rest of DePaul takes what they want from Marist. The point back as well. Beautiful shot from Icarus just to seal the deal onto Face Mist. But DePaul going to not only take the point, but do so with very comfortable ult economy.
Yeah, and the thing is that they also won the point before they actually won the fight, so that gives them even more time on the clock, even more point percentage gained, and now they've got a lot of ultimates to work with. They did commit the duplicate as well as the Primal Rage, but the D.Va Bomb is still in their hand, and I think the Hanzo Dragons could be very good here. You don't usually see Hanzo with a dive comp, but they could be a great way of creating space.
Oh, space created indeed, straight down the middle of DePaul. Marist getting into a bit of a tight zone here now. Chronos hugging the corner, making sure that the damage hits the wall and not him. There goes the immortality, or sorry, the supercharger coming out. Self-destruct as well from both sides of the fence, but it doesn't get around the corner. So we're not going to see any kills from that Icarus. Able to take Taze out of the fight as DePaul continuing to stabilize 87% in building, losing their Winston. Without that main tank, Zeph in a bit of trouble, has the Transcendence online, able to duck and dive just enough with the help of their D.Va. Not going to work out in the end, however. Marist now beginning to stabilize. The stall is there, 99%, and only one fight away. DePaul going to have to go back to spawn.
They will indeed, and I feel like we see this every time we get to Ilios. It's always these 99-99 engagements. By the end of it, we'll see if DePaul can wrap it up before that, and I think they do have a lot that they can use there. I think the biggest thing is you gotta wait for Obscure to get that Nano online, and then once you have that, just let Chronos go in. When they get weak, they can use their Primal Rage, and then you can use the Transcendence if you really need to heal everyone up. And again, those Dragons, they didn't get kills, but they did zone out Marist College very well last time, and it could be used that way again. It looks like Steidel has muted by
Icarus
accident.
now gonna be able to find themselves positioning, looking for the Dragons, pops it through the wall, but there's nobody from Marist College there. But Emerald and Face Mist both able to use their ultimates to find a couple of kills and put Marist back on top in the fight. Primal Rage from Crow isn't finding what it needs except for a single kill onto the Baptiste, but the rest of the team going to be able to stabilize, trying to get out now and not able to do so. DePaul back to spawn as the ticker goes up for Marist, and they still have good economy to save this next fight.
Well, what was the thing I just said about what they needed to be patient for? They needed to wait for that Nano. They didn't. They ran in with other ultimates that didn't work out. And sure, you have it now, but you don't have anything to follow up with. and there's still going to be things for Maris. They're going to have a self-destruct as well as a beat drop.
There goes that self-destruct. The Winston bubble immediately broke, and the Nano Boost narrowly saving Chrono's life there at the very end. Zeph is forced to use the Transcendence, and nothing left on board right now for Maris College unless Face Mist can work this Pulse Bomb up quick. The D-suit on to Traders, the rest of DePaul moving pretty on to the point. Face Mist trying to get something done on the Tracer, but the Winston going to be zoning them out, and the rest of DePaul there to follow up on that damage. So first point going to go over to DePaul, but Maris showing a pretty strong front, but some of those cracks that we talked about that we've seen over the past couple of weeks are starting to show up here.
Yeah, and I just don't think they had the right comp for that. I understand why you want to run the Orisa, because you can take space and you can set up a bit of a bunker, but when you go against a dive like that and you don't have a direct counter to it, it becomes very difficult. If you got like a Roadhog, you got a Sigma, there's a lot of crowd control abilities that they have to stop it. D.Va, you can fly up, and that's about it. I mean, you can eat damage, you know, D.Va can do a lot of great things, but crowd control is not really one of them, unfortunately, for her. So, because of that, I just feel like they had to swap to a dive or something a little bit more dive countering, and they did not, unfortunately. So Maris, they did bring it back pretty closely, but DePaul is going to take the first round.
We'll see if the Reaper is able to bring a bit of a switch up to the combination that Maris is bringing to the table. DePaul not really feeling any need to switch off of what they brought to the table last time around. Seeing the aggressive push immediately from Kronos as they go on to point. Maris positioning themselves inside the lighthouse. Face Mist goes up in the corner on the McCree. Doesn't know the D.Va just behind him, using the defense matrix to mitigate a lot of the damage that Maris is able to put out. But now, the pedal to the metal. DePaul able to find 2 kills to open it up. Face Mist trying to even it up, but the flashbang lands. The hits don't. And that's going to be 3 down for Maris as DePaul takes the point. And this isn't the first time that we've seen them kind of give up a fight to take it just seconds later.
They do give up the point for just a little bit, but they get those 2 kills immediately after the point goes to Maris. So, you know, from there, that's basically going to go their way no matter what. And they get it pretty quickly, only 12%. They're going to match that instantly. And look at the ultimate economy. It's already very big. Prime has been doing work on this Echo Duplicate. It takes a lot of ult charge to get that online, and already only 12% away.
Gonna have to be careful for the coalescence from Maris, however, a big initiator. Going to be go ahead and pop that immediately. The healing's still there for DePaul University at the time, but Chronos trying to tank the damage, isn't able to do so. The Dragons come out at the cost of their life as Icarus goes down to Ohm in the back, but Obscure able to do some help for DePaul as they take down a portion of the back line. But the Echo now there, the Fan, the Hammer, Deadeye's online, but a flashbang comes through. Prime still able to use that beam to finish him off. They'll be able to take that point. DePaul still holding pretty.
They are indeed. They do have to use more than they wanted to there. They have to use both their DPS ultimates, and all that was committed there by Maris was the coalescence. But I think the biggest thing is beyond that, Taze is not getting a lot of value, unfortunately, on this run. Has not really been able to enter the point, has been kind of chucked down every time they go on to the point. I think a big problem for that is because they're not running a Mei. They're not using anything that could cut off DePaul. They're not using anything that could slow DePaul down. I mean, you have the flashbang, but it only is in effect for a little bit.
Oh no! The Primal Rage off to the edge. Chronos knows exactly where you go. Getting the boops left and right. Oh, Face Mist barely saving themselves there at the edge, but it's just a little bit longer until the bell tolls, and that's going to be it. They are patiently waiting for the self-destruct to dwindle away. DePaul still looking very confident here on Lighthouse. The self-destruct only buying time. But Maris putting the pieces of the puzzle together, able to find 2 kills and avoiding the Dragons is exactly what they needed. They're going to lose their D.Va, and they need to deal with Prime and Icarus. The 2 DPS from DePaul absolutely going insane, forcing another ult. We started with the Echo Ultimate. That's insane.
Shatter misses. Can they get what they need? They're going to kill off Taze, and it looks like DePaul is going to close this out. Again, they did lose the point. They've got to make sure this Death Blossom doesn't get too much. The ante coming in might have been what put the nail in the coffin for Maris, as they could not heal up through that Death Blossom, and DePaul comes out on top. And one thing I want to point out from Emerald is that they actually were able to shadow step back onto the map. They were not booped off by the Primal Rage, but it still was not enough. Chronos on this Winston has just been a monster.
A monster indeed. I mean, to the point of what I would look at and say that's a little bit disrespectful. Just no regard for his own life, diving in, but perfectly managing those cooldowns to where he's got the team support so that he can stay in for a little while, jump right back out. And 13 jump pack kills. I don't know the last time I saw a Winston card.
Yeah, you don't see it very often. Winston definitely a bit stronger now that he has a little more armor, so he can kind of jump in with less care in the world. But generally, you're seeing a double bubble composition where you have the Zarya pocketing him with her projected bubble, and then you can use his shield after that wears off. Here, they just run straight up traditional dive minus their DPS, which are not very dive-esque, but it still works. They created space with their dive tanks. Chrono just went in, used all of that primary fire that's an AoE. It gets everywhere. Tesla cannon can do a lot of damage if you're able to, fire it over a long period of time, and just able to get in there and get primal rages very quickly. There worked out brilliantly for them. And DePaul, we talked about them, Maris, as we said, struggling a little bit. DePaul coming off a great win, and now they're going to have that first map win already in their hands.
Yeah, super excited already to see a little bit of what that DPS duo of Icarus and Prime can really bring to the table. But that was absolutely insane on that last point. It was practically just the Hanzo and the Echo there to fight their own, and they were able to take 3 picks, stall it out long enough, and get the team back into the equation. It just chef's kiss. Absolutely fantastic play.
Yeah, the Dragon Strike comes in, and it gets a few people weak on the side of Maris. Then you just are able to build up a duplicate just in time, and then they duplicated the Rhine as Ren was shattering. So Taze hits the shatter, then immediately they get copied, and then it's just all easy straight for DePaul there. They're able to get 2 shatters off in that second span. I think they didn't actually hit the second one on anyone, but the fact that you can get 2 shatters during a duplicate is pretty impressive nonetheless. Yeah. And the Echo,
and mind you,
so good.
They started that fight with the duplicate. In the process of that entire fight, they were able to build up a second one and able to get that Reinhardt duplicate.
Yeah, I mean, it just went on for so long, and you see that a lot on Ilios versus other maps. You just have these long fights that never seem to really end until, one team is completely wiped out. So even though there were only like 2 or 3 people left for DePaul, they didn't get the Echo, or maybe Echo died earlier on. I'm not exactly sure. I think they were coming back maybe from spawn, but the point that they were able to get it really quickly. They just hit a few stickies, got a focusing beam kill, and then just like that. So target priority, it has to be on point in situations like that. Unfortunately for them, it was not.
Well, they're gonna have another chance. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be seeing that Echo again when we go over to Eichenwald. I mean, it's a great map for Pharah. It's got a lot of nice places to play around, but when it comes to Echo, you can move up and down so much quicker than Pharah can, and it's a playground for Pharah. It's home to Echo, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I just don't think Pharah is necessarily the best choice right now. I feel like when you take a Mercy into the sky with her, that's a lot less sustained for your tanks, especially if you are running a Reinhardt who, beyond charge doesn't have a lot of movement abilities. So you can just kind of be a sitting rectangle, sometimes a sitting duck, if you will. But when you have the Echo, I mean, you can run a Mercy to pocket her, but Echo, as you said, is a lot faster, a lot quicker, so she can just kind of dive and dodge in and out of things and go for health packs, and then she can also just go to the team. Instead of Fari just has to kind of slowly plop into the ground if she wants to actually be near her healers. So we'll see if either of those things comes out. Looks like neither of them, for the time being, sides have not swapped. And it is going to be Rhine for both teams.
I love to see this. I like to see the big hammer back in action. It was a nice little stint where it was difficult to play Reinhardt, and now that Ryan Zarya meta is being a little bit more prevalent, I'm interested to see how it goes, especially with the swap up we have. Echo Loco onto the Zarya, but Trader is still showing that Diva, looking for a little bit more mobility, using that defense matrix to help out a little bit.
And I think that the biggest thing is, Diva versus the Zarya. Zarya, they have the Hanzo, and they do have Prime actually on the Echo once again, so there are a lot of potential combinations that you can do with the Graviton Surge once that's online, so that could be a big matchup to watch out for.
But very quickly, DePaul are going to be making their way up to the center windmill. Just trying to make an opening right now for Prime, but Prime able to make an opening for Chronos, and able to take Taze out of the fight completely. They're going to lose their Reinhardt in the process, but Prime not going to be relenting anytime soon. Gets taken out by Traders at the very end of the fight. Now up to Icarus to get something done here at the very end. They may not win the fight, but you've got to be able to walk away with this with a body count and a weird spawn. for Maris. DePaul not willing to give up on the fight just yet. And Icarus barely able to get out of that fight alive. Face miss. Wanting to go ahead and shut me up. Taking Icarus out of the fight is DePaul. Pressing S. Have to get out of the fight. Maris able to hold.
And it just comes down to the fact that Chronos was a bit too deep. There was a great ante by Obscure to get them into there, get them tase his life. But then they can't follow it up, and I think a big part of that is because FaceMix is putting a lot of pressure onto them right now. And also there was a great play by Traders just to kind of fly in to Prime and knock them off course. That is going to be a huge shatter, but the nano comes out, and that might be a shatter back. It's going to be the Diva Bomb being thrown up into the sky as the rally comes online, but Traders finally finds one. FaceMix finds the next, and despite a lot of ultimates being committed there by DePaul, it looks like they are not going to be able to do much again. It's going to be a great hold for Maris with only 2 minutes left on the clock.
And FaceMix still continuing. That's almost disrespectful. They were headed back to spawn.
I think the thing there is that even though you do use the nano and the shatter, you actually have the better ult bank overall. Vocal does once again have the implication matrix. We saw them use it great in that recontest from the high ground, so I'm sure that's exactly what they're trying to do is they set up for it here. But there are 4 ultimates on the other side, including the grab dragons, and as long as they can break this immortality field, there's nothing that Maris can do to stop it.
Barn taking Icarus out of the fight early, and that's exactly what FaceMix is looking to do. You can hear the Graviton now going down. The immortality field already broken. The dragons still in their quiver there. Not going to be coming out at all. FaceMix able to put it into that Death Blossom, but it's not going to find what they want. DePaul able to still put themselves ahead into the kill feed. The Echo from Prime shatters into a shielded Reinhardt, using their focus beam, trying to help with the kill onto Ohm, able to get it what they need. Prime able to help DePaul take this first point. Just a couple of members left. Ooh, and the pin on the Tase is the cherry on top.
Yeah, it wasn't the grab dragons that won it. It was actually Prime once again with a duplicate. Icarus falls before the dragons can be thrown into the grab, but it doesn't matter. DePaul still get it done, but with not as much time as they'd like. 3 minutes and 17 seconds isn't a ton to go into second point, especially with how long it is, and especially if you get it all the way underneath the first archway and it gets to the bridge, then it gets very hard to get back to. So that there is a world where Maris can try to hold it here, and I was going to say, again, they played the high ground, but instead they immediately dropped to the low ground.
Giving up their advantage immediately. Chronos going to go ahead and take advantage of that, and with Maris all bottled up into this hallway, DePaul gonna have a bit of a difficult time pushing back. And spawn is exactly where they're gonna have to go in order to find anything to do. Maris still able to hold up a good defense, and with only 2 minutes and 30 seconds going into the second phase of Eichenwald. Oh, they know the Tracer's back there. They know Prime's back there.
They do, but how far will they chase? And I think they've realized it's not worth it, so they back off. They decide to just play the cart, and, you know, they still have some people on the high ground, like the McCurry who's currently high nooning, but not going to find anything. Emerald going to take a bit of damage, but no one dead just yet, and the flashbang's not going to find the kill they want.
Shatter will get blocked, and there goes the self-destruct into the back, but it's only going to find one. Icarus goes down, and a beautiful immortality field is going to allow for Tase to press W and M1 in a beautiful combination to take Chronos out of the fight. Onto the Zarya now. DePaul, although able to take the point well in a previous fight, being met with a pretty ironclad defense here.
Yeah, that's just so unfortunate for Icarus. They immediately get nanoed. They try to jump out of the range of the Diva Bomb there in front of the car, but unfortunately the angle they are at is not going to be enough to protect them. And now it looks like DePaul don't want to play on the car. They want to actually just take the high ground, take the fight to them a little bit. And I like this play because you have the Lucio. You can just use speed and run into them. But they're going to use the grab first.
Yeah, the grab onto the dragons. Oh no! Traitors! Able to take Icarus off the map as far as ultimates go. And DePaul, although they do get a bit of payload progression, are going to be down a mighty few members coming into the next encounter.
Yeah, they need to kill FaceMix. If they were able to do that, maybe it's winnable, but now it looks like it's going to fall all out of DePaul's hands. Like you said, good progression, but it's not going to be the cap.
Yeah, FaceMix not only able to get out, but also able to build up a Death Blossom for the next encounter. You know, you've got a lot online, and if you can put together a pretty masterful combination between the Pulse Bomb and the Shatter, You still got a chance, but a lot for Maris to work with.
Oh, and I think the biggest thing is they need to make sure they use this rally sooner than later. You don't want to wait until someone's already died first. It's an engagement tool. It's not a ultimate like a Lucio, Sound Barrier, or a Transcendence, which you use reactively. You've got to use it progressively. And you use that, and then you use the Death Blossom in tandem once you get Echo Loco out of mech, and that's an easy hold.
And there goes the Pulse Bomb. The turn from the Reinhardt gets the Shatter to land, but a Death Blossom gets defense matrixed by Traders. Maris still holding strong as they take Reinhardt out from DePaul. Chronos into the grave, and the Dragons come out. Tay is just barely able to get out with their life. Zeph from DePaul able to find themselves a couple of kills as well as the payload being only meters away from the point. 0.08 right now as FaceMix tries to keep a bit of a contest up. Tay is not going to be able to do it. The anti-nade comes through big from Obscure.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Obscure was the MVP in that fight, and Maris College, despite having so many ultimates, did not use them in the right order whatsoever. And if you're FaceMix, you got to be patient, because that defensive matrix is going to completely cancel out your ult. You're going to do it right in the face of Echo Loco. They are going to have that reaction time on lock. Fortunately, that's thrown down the drain, and for DePaul, they have a Diva Bomb, or not a Diva Bomb, actually, they just remixed, so they don't have that. They do have a Pulse Bomb, and they have a Nano. But it's eaten by Traders!
Oh my! Another big eat by Traders, the hungry Diva of the game, but Chronos and the aggro Reinhardt able to find 2 there on the kills. DePaul continuing to move this payload, using the Dragons as an avenue as the Diva Bomb gets big in the back! And Traders once again proving why they deserve to be MVP, having to battle 2 tanks on point and still coming out with a little bit of life, and the Shatter still not landing for Chronos. Kills, however, for DePaul coming through. Emerald on the McCree trying to get something done. They need to desuit this Diva to really enable the McCree here. But Echo Loco still able to find the kill, and with a nicely placed self-destruct, put DePaul into a good position to push this all the way through. Maris unable to touch at the moment. They able to get a couple of respawns in at the very last minute. Got the break now with their Baptiste in a bit of a tight situation, if you will. Big anti-nade once again from Obscure. And Emerald gets a stick, or sorry, Prime gets a stick onto Taze as Emerald tries to stay alive on the Tracer on the point. But it's just a matter of time, it seems, before DePaul gets it. Maris able to push it into overtime. The respawns have changed. Sound Barrier from Zeph gonna keep them alive, but a rally from Ohm gonna do the same. Big window of opportunity, but the kills continuing to come in for DePaul as of Shatter for Maris changes the game completely here. We've been in overtime for so long. Traders! Ada Dragons!
Traders is gonna carry their team to a hold here on 3rd point, whether they like it or not. The Death Blossom is online. Just got to avoid those mines, and somehow, someway, Maris with the stall at the Sentry, able to hold on to the points. And man, Obscure had some amazing anti-nades, but Traders ate, what, 3 or 4 ultimates there, and then got back-to-back huge self-destructions that got at least 2 kills each time. This off-tank has done so good for Maris.
I'm breathless, for one, and speechless as well. Trader doing an absolute masterclass on that Diva, just watching for those projectile ultimates and gobbling them up, keeping alive and taking them down with those self-destructs. Absolutely fantastic. But DePaul, apart from how fantastic the Diva from Arist was, controlled the pace of the game for the majority of that push.
Yeah, I would say, although they struggled a bit here and there, just like those paintings, they were a bit of a work of art. Unfortunately, just couldn't get it done, and I think the biggest thing was that there was a misplay from Chronos, and I'm not sure how this happened. They shattered, and it somehow did not hit Taze, and I'm not sure exactly what the trajectory of that was. I believe Taze is charging into the fight at the time, so I think it should have hit them, but it didn't. So even though they hit Emerald, and Emerald was super weak, they were able to stay alive a little bit longer because you've got more bodies on the point. You're able to bring more people out from spawn. Your spawn is so close because you're defending. So a lot of things just went right for them, and they were able to stay alive long enough to get the rally up, get the implication matrix up, and then get that Diva bomb up once again. But it's still going to be a tricky one for Maris. I mean, there's no overtime possibility, but they are going to have to get a full cap here to win.
The first step to that is going to be a quick take here on the first point, but a sneaky Reinhardt play by Chronos. Oh, but he gets red, and that's going to put him in a very tricky situation. DePaul go for a gutsy play and lose their main tank immediately. Marst has the green light to the point, Jag.
And there isn't much right now that DePaul can do. Once you lose Chronos, because Prime unfortunately doesn't have a great wall, so Mirrors can just run in and follow up on the run, even though they charge at each other. Now you're going to give up your Diva mech, and now this is looking really bad for DePaul early on.
Yeah, you talk about a snowball, but this is just a team melting before your eyes. Marist taking advantage of a badly timed but aggressive play.
It was a good idea. It didn't work out.
It was just a little bit too late.
Yeah, the wall timing was just a little bit, you know, off, and it didn't actually fully cover that archway. So they ran in again, and then they tried to go for the recontest, and luckily for them, it's not going to cost them too badly because the respawn's pretty quick, and that door takes a while to open up for the second point. But now, how do you play this high ground, and how do you contest the point? We talked about this a lot before the map started. You really want to try to drop down before it crosses under the second arch, and now they're going to be running into a high noon.
Oh, and the high noon finds Crow! Absolutely opportunistic there from Emerald. Had the choice to go for the Hanzo, didn't take the fight, moved out of the way. Decided to take Chronos out of the fight once again, and Chronos just really has not had the opportunity to play the defensive side of this game just yet. However, Marist here on the offense, they're going to be walking in with 4 ultimates, 5 probably soon. The self-destruct with the shatter lands in the air for 3, and Traders once again putting in their bid for the MVP. Face Mist now dealing with a Mei in the back line that's just a bit of a nuisance now as the payload continues to move with an impressive time bank. Marist showing why they're 9-1 and second in the standings.
And that's a play you don't see very often. The Shatter Bomb is something that I haven't seen in quite a while, but there it works to perfection. It also gets out the Dragons as well as the Mei Blizzard, neither of which land there. So that's pretty big for Marist to get a lot of ult economy out. They swap though. They swap off the Mei to the Junkrat, and I really like this. Junkrat is great here on this third point because it's very tight corridors. You can bounce grenades off the walls. There's a lot of spam damage that can come in. It's going to be up to Traders to do what they do best, and that's eat a lot of abilities.
Well, Marist is going to be starting things off big. The Shatter comes through from Chronos, but a bit of a pause from Marist. Lets it land on nobody. That's going to put Taze into a good position. Remember, Face Mist still has the Death Blossom going around the outside there, but deciding it's not the best idea. A good sound barrier comes through. Diva Bomb to the back line for DePaul, but it doesn't find any death. Chronos, however, able to find one. Face Mist looking to answer back, but a shield and a defense matrix are going to be keeping things alive in Marist. Their push slowly deteriorating because of DePaul, but DePaul having to use a lot of ultimates to deter them.
They do indeed, but do you see how quickly that Prime got that Junkrat Riptire online? It was like instantaneous.
Oh, he hasn't been playing Junkrat all game?
No, he's just been on it now. So just like only 30 seconds later has it. So if they can keep getting those really quickly, gives them a win condition. But so does this Dragon if it can land.
And this time it's not going to get eaten because it hits the wall early, but the Shatter takes the opportunity and runs with it. There's the Deadeye as well from Emerald, but it's not going to land. Face Mist and Ome both able to find themselves a couple of kills, and Marist once again able to dismantle DePaul's defense there at the very end. Let's see if they're able to get a touch. One good boop, and they won't be able to. There's the boop, the golden box awaiting them. An amplification matrix and a nano boosted Reinhardt are the 2 competing players here. With a big Shatter, DePaul trying to put something together, losing 3 members now, and they have a Riptire, but it's not able to get enough of a dent into Marist College, as the payload's going to continue to move after this Diva Bomb explodes and still takes 2!
Victory! Every time that self-destruct comes out from Traders, it's finding value one way or another. There again, another 2K just to cement themselves as the player of this map. And I mean, they're even going to get the play of the game. So I mean, even the game agrees with us, and this is going to be that bomb Shatter that they executed to perfection. You just throw it up there, it's a distraction, and you get the Shatter because everyone's looking at it, and easy. You can't draw it up any better than that if you try to. And now Marist are going to even things up. So they've only dropped 1 map so far. They did that again last week, and then they were able to win the next 3 in a row. So they're on pace to do that here today as well.
Yeah, they definitely looked like the team that we see in the standings a little bit more here. And this isn't the first time that we've seen teams have a little bit of a difficulty getting things started on the control map. And then when you come to the hybrid maps, the payload maps, the the Assault maps, you get a little bit more coordination and the synergy starts to link up.
Yep, and now we're guaranteed at least to go to Rialto, which should be our 4th map in the pool. We do know that is going to happen down the line. But before we go to our 3rd map, Temple of Anubis, we are going to take a very, very quick break, so don't go anywhere.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, in the sunny streets of Anubis with Marist College versus DePaul University in what is turning out to be quite a matchup, 1-1 going into our 3rd map.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the tale of the 2 maps that we've seen so far have been very different. DePaul, while they struggled a bit on the attack, they got very close to finishing the map, just couldn't get it done. Marist had a great defense and then an even better attack where they just ran through most of that 2nd point of Eichenwald. A lot of thanks to Traders on this D.Va, but Traders, as you see, is going to be on the Sigma instead, so we're going to see that traditional double shield come out for the first time. On the other side, DePaul, they've been running this dive very, very effectively today. We saw them do it very well on Ilios, so I think they're going to set themselves up for pretty great success early on.
Gonna have to watch out for the burst damage coming through from Emerald as they get into the point prime, getting a little bit of early information, trying to figure out the best avenue of attack for DePaul.
They just can't get in right now. I think that's the thing. Like, with a dive comp, you're just going to have to run in. You got to jump immediately. And there is finally the engagement.
The Maywall comes through, so the healing no longer going to be there for Kronos, and that's going to be an oh-no. Able to take down the monkey pretty early as DePaul. Almost losing Prime as well. Going to have to back out and go back to the drawing board. Try this one more time. Oh, and a late kill on a Zeph. Going to stall things up for a little bit longer.
A great pull into the accretion is going to help get that kill. Their Zenyatta's going to be offline. I think the biggest thing is, like, you need an Echo here to follow up with the damage. You have the Tracer, who I believe is currently, like, top left behind everyone. I think that she has been found out a bit. Now she's been discorded, so they know where she is, but she is in the back line. But, like, if you've got an Echo to follow up on those dives, just kind of jump over the top, wait for stickies, and then get the focusing beam in, you will melt some of the enemies on the side of Marist. But right now, no one has been melted quite yet.
Nope, but they're taking the slow approach now to Paul as they go around the edge here. It's going to open things up for Prime. There goes the dive from the Winston, but immediately Kronos melted like a hot stick of butter dumb. Now able with the anti-even to dish out damage and a bit of healing for the team. DePaul losing a couple of members, trying to fight back, able to find one or two, and Marist onto their heels, but not necessarily in too much of a danger zone just yet, with Emerald not only finding a couple of good kills, but very close to having the Dragons online, fighting the D.Va on high ground, wins the battle. And able to deal with the... almost getting taken down there by the baby D.Va. We're going to be able to use the amplification matrix for a little bit. The rest of the team dwindling. And an aggressive attempt at return from Taze is going to end in that Orisa getting staggered out here a bit.
Yeah, it seemed like it was great for DePaul, or it was great for Marist, and then all of a sudden DePaul just comes back in, Kronos gets nanoed, and again, Obscura has been great with those antis and these nanos so far in the series there. It's another big one. Now they've got DPS ults. They don't have much else to work with, so it might be a bit difficult to snowball this, especially when Traders does have the Gravitic Flux online that can kind of shut down any sort of approach coming out from DePaul. But if they're patient and they get ultimates out from the defenders, they can win this next fight.
Well, immediately, the Gravitic Flux is going to get committed along with the Dragons. Emerald finding 2, and Traders going into the back to deal with the D.Va. Maris able to hold the point, but only leaving their Blizzard online, possibly a Trance as well as a Supercharger in the next mix. Don't know if the Gravitic Flux was needed.
That's a trade you'll take any day of the week, right? If you're DePaul, because you only use the Pulse Bomb, and now you're actually swapping to the Doomfist. It doesn't even matter. I was going to say Pulse Bomb you get really quickly, but I mean, the Blizzard can be big, the Trance can be big, Supercharger can be big, so those are all the ones that can provide great value, but if you keep forcing them out when they aren't needed, like you said, like the Gravitic Flux might not be needed, it works out well, and now you get the Immortality Field out very early on.
The Immortality Field out of the way. Paul still able to find themselves the kills that they need. Look at that shot from Icarus. Transcendent's going to be a saving grace for Maris here at the very end, trying to get a couple of other ultimates online, get the Blizzard back to point if possible, and here come the Dragons. Emerald risking their life to get them out, but Chronos able to get this nano boost once again and have a huge effect on the outcome of the battle by just dipping and dodging and keeping everybody from Maris busy. Traders and Vocal able to find a couple of kills there towards the end. There's another self-destruct just for the resuit very early on. Emerald, Traders able to push back the offenders, and Maris able to put things together for the defense.
And Icarus has had great shots on this Hanzo, but their target priority was not great. They go for the D.Va, who's being pocketed by the Transcendent instead of, I believe it was Emerald, who was kind of left behind on their own Hanzo. The Zen just kind of was like, oh, you're on your own, good luck. Ohm did kind of leave them there, but they stayed alive, and unfortunately, tried to get the D-Mech instead. It didn't work out. Then they get zoned out by that same D.Va, who's done a great job of moving people all over, as Traders has done. Just has been great all around. And there, they do have the Dragons once again, but it's not going to be enough to win this point unless this gets 1 or 2 kills. Well, kills coming out from it, but the self-destruct is coming out from Traders once again. Ooh. Emerald is the first one to find a kill here.
Yeah, and with that, they're going to get targeted down pretty quickly, but Traders able to back them up as the scales get evened out. DePaul starting to lose more members than they're able to take out of the fight. Beautiful wall comes up, stopping the damage from the Meteor Strike from Prime, and not able to close the kill onto Vocal either. The Doomfist getting effectively dealt with there.
Yeah, this Doomfist from Prime has unfortunately not been super effective, and that's what we wanted to see. That's the Echo I've been hoping for this entire time, and finally, it's coming to life. I feel like Prime is going to get zoned out almost every time by Harmonics on the May, because they're just going to freeze him every time they try to jump in. Now, with the Echo, it's going to be a lot harder to do that, as they can play high in the sky instead. No ultimates for them, a few ultimates for Maris, but again, just get the ultimates out for Maris, and then build up your own ult bank, and then run in for the next fight. You can take dry fights. Still got time.
And we talk about how it can be very difficult to build up the ultimate for Echo, but already at 30%, Prime has already proven to us that this Echo is a viable option, but a Primal Rage into the backline of DePaul is going to force Maris onto dire straits after the Dragons. But Emerald is still able to find one with that Deadeye. DePaul sitting in a bit of a wobbly spot at the moment. As Maris continues to hold this defense, they've now got the Blizzard, they have the Amplification Matrix, they're going to have a Sound Barrier. They're going to have a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for DePaul right now. They weren't able to get as many ultimates out of Maris as they wanted to. And now there's just going to be a lot for Maris to sit on. I think the biggest thing is they can't be reactive, they have to be proactive. So I'd really like to see that Blizzard come out as soon as possible to help win that fight early on, and then keep everything else for that like stagger recontest that's going to happen. It's just characters from DePaul to try to roll on in and try to keep the point alive as long as possible.
And you can see Chronos biding his time there, switching directions mid-air, able to pop the Primal Rage. Emerald out of the equation now, putting Maris into the good spot. Amplification Matrix putting a lot of pressure onto the point at the moment. DePaul Prime on this Echoed May gets the Blizzard down and the May wall to protect the team from the opposing Blizzard, but the kill is still coming through for DePaul. Maris down to only a few members on the point, and the Echo from Prime beginning to shine. It seems like once they get lost into the crowd of things, they don't get focused, they just have free reign on the point.
Yeah, now it just looks like it's going to be clean up for DePaul. They haven't even gotten a ticket, actually. But now they are going to get the first one. They used this self-destruct very early. I felt like that was something they could have held on to for a bit. But Now with these recontests, no one's able to touch. The self-destruct being used really doesn't matter, and DePaul does get the full cap, but it's going to take their entire time back. They had almost 5 minutes going into the second point, and it took all of it to get it done.
Definitely a staunch defense there from Marist, and that also puts a big win condition on the tables. If you're able to capture the point with time remaining, DePaul doesn't get a second chance, and you only have to get 33% of the point.
Yeah, as long as you get more than 1 minute exactly, then DePaul gets nothing. But if you get less, then DePaul gets some time. Depending on how much time you have, you might have about double their time bank, or you might have only like 13 seconds more. So things can get pretty wobbly there. Very back and forth, especially if there's less time between the two of you. I think the biggest thing there is I said they had to use the mail early, and they waited for the dive to come in. They didn't use it proactively. They did do it reactively, and there the sound barrier wasn't going to save Emerald, as Emerald was just being tossed away by the Primal Rage. So unfortunately, the timing of the ultimates just a bit too late for Maris, but still, like you said, a staunch defense that led to DePaul having no time left.
And looking at the composition that we're currently seeing on the defense, DePaul not really wanting to switch up much. I mean, it's been working. Sometimes they've had to kind of force it in, but for the most part, Marist has had a little bit of a struggle dealing with the Hanzo Echo and Chronos on this Winston.
And if you can dive out the backline for Maris, if you can get Vocal and Ohm weak, and if you can force out Immortality Field early, that's going to be a win-win every time. Then you just have Prime coming over the top and focus them down, and then there's nothing left to protect Maris. But if you can't do that, if you try to play the frontline battle, then things can get a bit more dicey unless Obscure hits a huge anti-nade. And Obscure has been doing that all day today, so I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to do that. But we do know Traders has been a hungry diva, has eaten a lot of things so far, so I'm sure they're keeping their defense matrix online just for something like that.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful defense matrix there to make sure that Prime can't do anything, does a little bit of damage, and doesn't decide to chase. Onto the high ground now for Traders. Able to read this dive pretty well from DePaul and Harmonix. Finding the opening kill, the backline now for DePaul, getting a little bit ravished by this Diva Traders. Taking everything that DePaul will give them as Maris, playing it slow, are going to be in the upper hand in this fight.
They're going to wait for the most part, it looks like, for their Rhine to come back. They are taking space. They're making sure they don't go up this archway. Now that their Rhine is back, it's going to be the full engagement for them to come out and try to take this first point.
And Emerald almost opening it up with the kill onto the Echo and onto the high ground. From the high ground, I should say, comes that nano boosted Chronos. One Winston that's dealt a lot of damage and been a bit of a source of turmoil for Marist College all day long. But Marist still putting kills together one by one. DePaul fighting back tooth and nail as they put themselves up ahead in the kill feed, stabilize, and reposition for another defense.
Yeah, but that was very shaky. They had to use a lot there just to hold on to it. The Nano, the Primal Rage, as well as the Duplicate. So Marist College, they're going to be coming up on a lot of ultimates. All they use there is the Ant Matrix. There's going to be a lot in their pockets, and they've also taken away the first high ground from DePaul. They had to back all the way up more towards the point, so that's going to make entry much easier for Marist to get in here.
And Prime's just not going to let them have Oh no, Traders! Another dragon gone. Oh! And Echo wants to show off too, taking the Blizzard out of the equation as well as the self-destruct lands. Nobody is going to be taken down. Shadow, however, is able to find the Lucio into the back of the Fire Strike. Oh, sorry, the Zenyatta going to be taken down as well, but the kills coming through for DePaul on the defense. Marist, barring a couple of very impressive uses of ultimates and abilities, still unable to find themselves any sort of purchase here on the point.
And it comes down to that self-destruct coming out a little bit too early from Traders. They were able to zone it out. For DePaul, they were able to take natural cover. And then the one that came out from Echo Loco was a bit bigger. They were able to get the D-Mech. I mean, it was still Traders who was getting a kill on to Prime while as a pilot Diva. But the fact that they weren't able to fly into the face of their opponents like they have so many times and displace them, once you lose that, it doesn't matter how many kills you're getting as Baby Diva, because you just can't get what you need out of Diva's regular kit, which is the defensive matrix.
And DePaul taking their time getting to point, and it's going to bite them in the bud here at the very, very beginning. Marist still unable to find their way onto the high ground, but Echo Loco now onto the defense there. able to meet the rest of the team, and another jump pack coming through as the Echo onto the Baptiste is going to allow for an early window at best, but I don't think that's the target that Prime was going for. Kronos, however, still able to find a kill and make something happen with the Primal Rage. There goes the window from Prime, and the rest of the Default able to keep themselves up and healthy. With only 20 seconds left, Deadeye off to the right, down below the bridge. Not going to find anything hunting the Zenyatta, but found out by the Winston. 2 more kills for DePaul and Marist College right now. Looking to drop a second map.
Yeah, Owen was going to be the one to touch, but how long can they stay alive? As the Brigida, no rally, barely makes it onto the point. The lamp cannot save them. Immortality field is thrown out, but it's not going to find the mark, and no one else can touch. And that's going to be DePaul winning their second map of the series. And I had said that last week, Marist, they dropped one, but then they did 1-3-1. But one thing I didn't mention was the week before that, the first loss of the season, that was a 1-3 result. So either way, I mean, we're looking very similar to the last 2 weeks. It was a great defense, but Marist, they just could not crack the code for this dive defense that came out from the other side. And it's very surprising. This is something we haven't really seen since Overwatch League Season 1, so 2018, with a dive defense on top of Anubis. But even when they're down one, somehow, some way, they're able to find kills. And a lot of the time I was noticing Kronos was just going on to Emerald, and Emerald was not having a fun time with it.
Yeah, I mean, Kronos has seemed to have a lot. Not freedom is a bit of a soft term for how we're seeing Kronos play so far. Just completely getting into the backline, disrespecting them, and being able to get out with fair ease, to be honest. The supports right now for DePaul doing an absolutely fantastic job of enabling their main tank and the rest of their team in order to make that happen.
Yeah, and once you just go wild, I mean, what can you do if you're Marist? You've tried running the Reaper and did get success a little bit, but they didn't try it this time. You've tried running the Brigitte, and it seems like the Shield Bashers aren't stopping Kronos at all. The Flashbang isn't either, so a lot of your CC abilities that you've tried just have not worked out. Maybe you go for a Sombra, but a Sombra commitment onto a Winston doesn't really work that well. That's more something you'd use for a Wrecking Ball. So whatever the counter is to stop Kronos, Marist has not found it yet, and they're going to need to, because they lose this next map. They lose it, they're done for the series. That's going to be their second map, or second series loss on the season. And I mean, it was impressive that they lost once already. Losing twice, that seems pretty inconceivable of how dominant they were early on in the fall.
And on top of that, we're going to Rialto, a map where dive is really good here. There's a lot of open spaces where closing that distance can be crucial, and with the way that Kronos and the rest of DePaul have been playing, they've proven that that's an ability that they have as a team.
It is, and I think dive can be really strong because there's a lot of high ground. I think when it gets to third point, then it becomes a lot weaker, but first and second point, I think it's very, very strong. The question is, once you get to that third point, if you're DePaul, do you swap? Do you go for more of a brawl comp? Because there's just not enough high ground to justify jumping on people and taking those positions. So brawl can work really well, because then you can just stay on the point and then try to swing away. We've barely seen Kronos on the Rhine. We've only seen it a couple of times, and I do think that Taze got the better of that duel for the most part. Mostly on Eichenwald. So, you know, that's another thing. Like, you know, maybe we don't go for the brawl. Maybe we go for something else. Maybe you run the Arista Sigma double shield. I mean, it can work as well. There's honestly a lot of different comps that I feel like tank-wise can work here.
One of the beautiful things about the meta as it is. But we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into our fourth map, which is going to be Rialto. And we're back with our fourth map of the day. Stilo24 and Jag here to bring you the action as DePaul University looks to put a second loss on the Marist record. Rialto,
so close to doing it, right?
Here. Yeah, I mean, they've already proven that they can do it, and if I doubt they're gonna run with what they're showing, but if they did, it would be a little bit of a confidence play.
It would be. We'll see if that confidence play does come out. I don't think it will. And yeah, there it is. So there is not going to be any double off tanks today, but we talked about how dive could be what DePaul runs. They are going to do it. Sides did not swap, so they'll be on attack first, and worked out pretty well against the Rhine Diva composition last time that Marist tried. I think the biggest thing is Prime isn't on that Doomfist again, and I think that's huge because Harmonix is on that Mei, so that Mei would once again shut down that Doom, but they don't even have to worry about that, and they're just going to get a lot of free push.
Kind of difficult to contest the dive on the early bridge. You kind of want to bring it to this corner, but now as the high ground becomes a little bit harder to play with, DePaul are going to have to choose their moment to engage, and Zeph with a pick onto Harmonix is exactly what they needed to press go. Taze is going to miss the charge. They've been able to bait that out, and with a little bit of health left on the shield, but not a lot of health left on the Reinhardt. Have to hold it up and let the supports for Maris get the work done, but DePaul continuing to get this dive and do so in a controlling manner. They haven't really left this corner as a blob of a team that entire fight, but unable to put things together. Maris gonna have to go back to spawn.
They are indeed. And one thing we didn't even realize is that it's actually double bubble. It's not a true dive, so now Chronos is going to have a lot more protection with the projectile bubble from Zarya when they dive in. It did take a while. They're going to have to take another fight here before they get the first point, but there are so many ultimates right now online for DePaul.
And you can see Prime wanting to get that echo and able to find the Reinhardt very, very deep in enemy territory. Gets hit with a dragon and a charge, but that's not going to stop them from shattering at large. Prime now pushing all the way through. And Maris really, really getting taken to the cleaners here on Rialto. They've got to stop and get something together.
And now they've swapped Harmonix to the Echo, so there will be that matchup in the sky, but I think they need to do a full swap. I think they need to go for a full mirror at this rate, because this Reinhardt is just not being able to get much done. Taze not being able to swing and get much damage. Those shatters aren't being built up.
You can see Icarus already getting a lot of early damage down, but Chronos still able to get out, give the rest of DePaul, or sorry, the rest of Maris a bit of a runaround. Has the Primal Rage available. Prime getting taken down, however, from the Deadeye. Primal Rage onto the high ground from Chronos, and the Graviton sitting in the wings from Echo Loco. Support ultimates as well online in spades for DePaul. The hammer goes down from Yates, but a big boop comes through from Chronos, tanks the shatter, and allows for the rest of the team to press W after a big nano boost from Obscure keeps him alive.
And I want to think about this, because I could be completely wrong, but wasn't Emerald at one point on DPS for Maris?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Emerald was playing the McCree earlier.
Yeah, and they roll. So they were playing on Temple of Anubis. They roll swap, and now they're on the Lucio. And now it's Face Misk who has to have the unfun day on the McCree. It doesn't matter who's playing the McCree. Chronos knows exactly where they'll be, finds them out, Primal Rages them into the wall, gets the kill. And now this has just been an amazing push right now from DePaul. They could get stopped here, but there is the grab dragons.
Yeah, they're able to find both tanks into that dragons. They'll lose Prime in the mix of it all, and this is what you want to see from Maris. They've started to figure out how to deal with the Echo, but the rest of DePaul, still a bit of an issue as the payload moves through. Last minute touches need to come now, but nobody able to make it.
That was... I mean, we saw how dominant Maris was on Eichenwald. This was the exact same thing here for DePaul on Rialto. They play their game. They don't go for the Reinhardt comp. They stay with the dive. You saw that it was a little bit less effective there on the second point. I think the biggest reason why they were able to cap is because there wasn't a contest from the defense until it was already on the final part of the third point. It was the last turn. It was the ending. If they had contested a little bit earlier, before the first turn, I think they would have had a lot more of a chance to stop it, but they just aren't able to get in position, unfortunately, for Maris, and that's more time than they start with. 4:36, an extra half minute plus on the clock for DePaul if it goes to overtime in extra rounds.
Ready for battle.
And what a push indeed, and with a composition like this, you can play this on the defense here on Real, so there's so much high ground in the early stages to kind of play around for both the Hanzo, the Winston, and the Echo, and when it comes to that wide open space, if they play the McCree, you're able to get out of those situations and put distance, and that drop-off really starts to take effect, and you can take advantage of it.
You can indeed, but I wanted to see if they, on the side of Maris, take advantage of the fact that they have a Wrecking Ball. I don't know if they'll stay with this, but it looks like they are going to try something new. The Reinhardt composition has not been working for them, so now they're going to be running a Tracer. So there are a lot of interesting things here.
Oh, yeah.
But most importantly, Traders is back on the Diva, which I think has been really what's carried Maris through some maps. Some amazing eats, some amazing self-destruct. So they're able to break bubble, all the bubbles, all three of them. They might be able to find some big self-destruct kills there, but other than that, I mean, how do you combo a Wrecking Ball and a Diva?
Well, they're going to be moving on to the high ground to challenge Chronos now. Able to help Icarus find that opening kill. Face Misk going to be starting things off for Maris. DePaul now down 1. Ball gonna have a little bit of trouble here in the courtyard area. A lot of open space to get through before you can get good pile drives. But there goes the D.Va, booping into the pile drive group of enemies, able to find that opening kill. And with the composition that's getting run right now from Maris, it's just kind of get the pile drive and everybody get there as quickly as possible to help with damage.
And we talked about the Sombra countering the Winston and how it might not work because there's bubbles, your Tesla cannon can cancel it if you hit it quick enough, but they're a great hack by Harmonix to take Kronos completely out of the fight. This is the first time I haven't seen him with almost an ultimate already online after the first engagement. Now, not even at halfway just yet, so this might be the counter that Maris has needed all along.
Ooh. Hayes felt pretty comfortable there. Just gathering up information, but gonna get rooted out there at the very end. And now Maris approaching one of the more difficult stages of Rialto to get past this choke in the stairway that sees it. Very difficult to get through, but Harmonix able to get into the back line onto the Hanzo. Big boot from Traders in the high ground. No longer into Paul's control. They do have an Echo D.Va on the point, but that's going to get finished off pretty quickly. But an EMP finding 4. Maris paving the way for their payload to go. Traders up onto the high ground has the self-destruct at the ready. But they don't have to use it. They're just going to hold on to it for a little bit longer. I expect we'll see a big bomb coming up in the next fight.
Could indeed, but they're going to have to eat that Graviton Surge that's online from Echo Loco first. Icarus now does have that Grav Dragon. Maris does have the Transcendence, so they can heal through the Grav Dragons, and they're actually going to use Mines to just make sure they can't even touch the point.
Oh, and a bit disrespectful if one would say, but Chrono's able to find themselves on the point with a Nano Boost. Still haven't captured that second point. The Transcendence allowed for the rest of DePaul to get there. Maris now committing that self-destruct. The shield no longer available. Zeph will die there at the very end in Prime. Although getting out with their life for a second. Face Miss might have something to say about it, but a good translocation from Prime going to keep them alive for a little bit longer.
Now the time is looking very good for Maris. And again, a great play by Harmonix. Hacks out Kronos. So not only can they not use the bubble, they also can't use the Primal Rage that they just got online. It says the die to the bomb, and the Grav Dragon, despite getting the trance out, does not come into fruition for DePaul. There's still win conditions for them to hold on for a bit longer, but it's the exact same situation where they're pushed up way too far. Now they've lost one of their win conditions early on.
And a beautiful play from Taze using the grapple into a corner wall jump for the pile drive to finish off Icarus. Hammond-Tech, I have yet to be able to perfect. Oh, Pulse Bomb, Appa ready there into the back line. Face Miss looking for the perfect opportunity. Dumps it onto the payload, but doesn't find anything from it. Traders, however, in the meantime, eats the grab from Echo Loco, and you said it had to happen, and it did. Maris, however, still losing members to Paul. Going to be able to stabilize here at the very last second.
Yeah, they do the Dragon. It doesn't get the kills, but it does get the zoning that they need. It forces Maris off point, and they're not able to stabilize or regroup. And now DePaul has a bit of life on the line. I think it comes down to this EMP battle between Prime and Harmonix. If you are able to avoid the EMP, and then you're able to get your own off, you can actually win that engagement. But if you EMP just a second sooner, you can also win it a lot more cleanly. So timing is going to be so important here, and I really want to see where Prime's setting up, as Harmonix is just going to run it in.
Yeah, Zeph and Prime opening up those 2 kills for DePaul. Maris not going to be able to put together an attack right here, right now, but they've got ultimates to work with still as they go back to spawn with Icarus getting this dragon up soon and Kronos still having that Primal Rage.
Yeah, the EMP there was just a bit bigger from Prime. It actually got less people, but the kills are found immediately off of it. So even though Harmonix got more targets, the follow-up wasn't there. The ultimates have been built up for DePaul, and they have the rally online, which I think is the biggest thing they'll need right now to sustain themselves. They just need to use it early on to make sure that no one dies before it's hit Q.
There go the Dragons from the left side, the rest of the team on the right. The Mines out onto the field now from Taze, and they will be able to find Kronos. Thought they had safety inside of the Dragon. Self-destruct up on top, no shield there to protect, and Icarus gonna get taken down in the process. The rest of DePaul now trying to get themselves together and find the kills they need, but it's Maris finding themselves in the kill feed. This payload dangerously close to going to the final distance. Winston gonna be hopping in with a Primal Rage. Has the Discord on them as well, and Taze in the back, able to find Obscure. Prime as well going to fall there at the very end, and Maris putting together a couple of good kills, but now losing a couple of members. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, and even finding this golden box here at the very end, they're going to have a substantial defense in the pulse bomb, able to get the damage done. Just have to deal with a couple of pesky respawns now, and Maris should be able to find this payload a bit of a home.
The EMP, though, it comes out, but it's going to be a bit too late, it looks like, as Chronos cannot do enough. And there's going to be Harmonix with their own EMP. Lucio still able to touch, and a lot of time killed off the clock. 2 minutes is what they end up with. So DePaul have a bit of a better defense, but they still can't stop the full cap from coming in, as we are going to be going to that extra round period that we talked about. But look at the time differentials between these two teams.
More than double. And on top of that, we've already seen DePaul run this map extremely well. And Maris is going to have to figure out something to take DePaul off their high horse when it comes to the attack. The defense wasn't as solid. There were a couple of cracks here and there, and the regroup was a little bit sloppy towards the end. But their attack has been almost impeccable.
Almost impeccable indeed, but now we're going to see if DePaul can get their defense going well. I mean, both these teams struggle on defense, but specifically, I feel like Maris did a bit more. The time makes you see, but DePaul still, it wasn't an easy feat. They got, especially in the first point, they really weren't able to stabilize. It was that third point where they finally were able to get something going, but first and second point did not go their way, so they're going to try to play it a bit differently. I think the biggest thing is they have to have Icarus either swap or play way farther back, because a lot of time they were the one that was caught out of position. They tried taking off angles, but Hanzo only has that extra jump that lets him go a little bit further, but you cannot outrun a Sombra, a Tracer, or a Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, those guys are just a little bit quicker. Let's see what Maris is able to do here. Translocator out for Harmonix as they go around the outside, looking to get maybe an early pick here onto the Echo. The hack goes through, but able to get out just in time. Prime no longer in danger. Almost gets the boop onto the Ana, but not going to land it, so going to have to go ahead and take a quick nap as Prime finds the opening 2 kills onto the back line. Traders going to have to go ahead and hop off of the map, as well as the baby D.Va. And Maris now just kind of tickling it in, trying to find a bit of a charge here or there as they wait for that regroup.
And this is a really smart play by DePaul. They're not going to give up the corner. They're not going to give up space. They're going to play it right here as the cart comes out of spawn. I mean, they're just killing time. They're killing time. They're getting kills. They're building up ultimate, so they can lose this fight here. And they didn't lose it, which is important. They can lose the fight here as long as they're contesting the cart, and then they can test it one more time before the point is capped.
And a big catch from DePaul as they get Emerald to get a little bit aggressive and get Okoloko into the back line there to find another kill. Icarus and Prime continuing to be big DPS duos for DePaul right now. Maris just can't seem to put the pieces of the puzzle together. They try and go a little bit speedier with the ball D.Va, but the kills just aren't coming through.
They're just not finding value hacks. Unfortunately, Harmonix has not been able to get really into this. They were almost able to get Prime out early on, and if they'd been able to hack Prime, I think that would have been huge, especially if they'd hacked them in the middle of flight. That would have been big, but now Prime is going to have duplicate. They almost have Rally. They got Nano. They've got Dragons. It's going to be very difficult for anything to happen unless Harmonix can get a huge EMP here.
And at 98%, they're still trying to build up just a little bit more. The Dragon's already out, the Echo out. Both D.Va's gonna get EMP'd right here. They're gonna be able to deal with the real D.Va first. The Echo now, the second priority, has the self-destruct online, and that's gonna be Prime's time to shine in the back line. But Face Misk able to find Prime and Chronos with that pulse bomb. Not able to stay alive, however, because of Obscure. The supports of DePaul continuing to keep the stragglers alive here on the payload as the overtime ticker now ticks down, and the respawns are going to be a little bit longer to come back to the payload. Icarus able to find an opening kill, but a quick answer back from Harmonix is going to keep Maris in the fight. Self-destruct from Echo Loco into the back, finds Emerald, and Maris now on high strung ropes now. Echo Loco able to find a couple of kills. Chronos with the Primal Rage, still getting the job done. And DePaul not having to push the payload far, but they're going to have a lot of time to get it that little bit of a distance.
Yeah, but that can be a little bit, you know, that can be a bit of a red herring, I feel like. It's a lot of time for sure, but I have seen full holds that have gone longer than this. If you're too confident, if you don't play your basics of ult economy and target focus, and you think it's over, it can be flipped on its head very quickly. But it's still going to be a very tall task for Maris if they are able to somehow full hold it here on the first point. think basically it comes down to harmonics once again. They go for a hack on the Brigitte, and that is just not the most high value hack because it's a character that, I mean, they don't have their shield, but they still have their primary fire, which is still going to heal. That's not canceled out. So they're still going to have Inspire up. And because of that, they're able to keep the Ana alive as well. They're able to keep up Upscare. And then Chronos comes in, Echoloka comes in. They stay alive long enough. The card isn't pushed far enough. DePaul, despite losing that fight at the beginning of it, is able to regroup. And now it's only about, not even the full point. I would say 75% of the first point is what they need to bring the series home and get that big W.
And Maris is also fighting with a little bit of extra motivation right now. You know, they're going, we can't lose here. We need to take this to Busan so we can reclaim our name, get ourselves another win, and continue the chase to take RIT down from that top spot on the leaderboard.
Yeah, RIT, and they have not lost at all. Both UTA and Maris, who are the other top two teams who were undefeated now, have both fallen so far in the spring split. So a lot of action has happened, and with another 4 weeks after this one, a lot more could go down before we get to playoff contention. But for now, in this game, DePaul are looking to start off this week with a victory here, and they are getting very close. I mean, they've already made it halfway to where they need to be.
Yeah, the payload getting a lot of distance here in the beginning as that high ground fight kind of trickled on for quite some bit. FaZe was able to find the opening kill to fall. Gonna have to give up a little bit of distance, but that's okay. You got the payload a good bit. You've gotten a pretty good read on their team, and you built up your ultimate bank to at least 50% for your entire team. Or sorry, 30% for your entire team. Maris actually sitting pretty on the ult bank.
Yeah, almost at the high noon. Very close. Actually, no, it's the D.Va remix. They're not close to the D.Va bomb. I'm going to be having the mech back soon, but the Transcendence is very close, which I think is the biggest thing. The problem is that Transcendence doesn't really counter anything on the side of DePaul except for maybe the dragons. It won't save everyone else from bomb. It'll only save yourself. It's not a shield. It's just a lot of extra healing.
Well, the payload now moving dangerously close. Harmonix able to find the hack onto Chronos, and it completely removes their ability to get out of the fight. So the dragons are going to have to be the space maker right now for Icarus and DePaul. But the body's still online for Maris. It's 2 minutes and 57 seconds to read the clock. They've been able to keep their defense together so far, but the rally coming out right now from DePaul is the Winston. Gets back into the action. You see the Nano Boost go out. The Deadeye not going to land, and the payload going to find a home.
And that is one of the scariest sights you can see in all of Overwatch. And Nanoed Brigitte, who's rallying. Oh my goodness.
Yikes.
He gets it across. Yeah, it is a yikes for DePaul, or not for DePaul, for Maris, unfortunately. DePaul is going to be what they need to win, despite some great EMPs there. I love that highlight intro. The hacking it, I love it so much. It's a shame we don't see it more often, but it's a great play here. But the hack priority, I think, just kind of fell off near the end. It was really good on the first phase, the first attack and defense when they ran it. But then when they got to extra rounds, it kind of didn't find what they needed there. They weren't able to hack the right targets at the right time. And then when they did get hacked, sometimes it wasn't the right person there. As we saw, Brigitte is still pretty powerful even when she's hacked. And that time when she was rallied and she was inspired and she was Nano, there was nothing that was going to stop her. It didn't even matter if she got hacked in that scenario.
Yeah, I meme about how fun and how effective the Nano Hammond can be. But Nano Brig just seems like a bit of an overpowered ability. I feel like you should shoot the Nano Dart and it should hit her shield and bounce off and just hit whatever the nearest person is. Enemy or friend, just nanos them instead.
Or maybe it just makes her shield like a Reinhardt shield, but nothing else gets changed. Just her shield gets bigger.
What if she just has Reinhardt's hammer, just the giant?
She just becomes Reinhardt. Why don't we just go the full distance there while we're at it?
Okay, it's like a Pokemon evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. She levels up and she becomes a hero that people actually like in the universe. Which is a shame because I think Brigitte as a character, her lore, it's very nice. It's very cool. I think she's in a much better place than she used to be. You know, she used to be very overpowered, but now she's got a good balance. So I like where she's at. And I think people still have a lot of hate for her because of what happened with Goats.
I mean, Goats left an impression, okay? There's a lot of rooms you walk into and you Goats, and people shy away and flinch and such. So I understand that, but she's slowly making her way back from her. It took May years to have a place in my heart. So Brig is gonna be having to work her way in there as well.
I still hate May, so there you go with that one. But at the end of the day, it is going to be DePaul with a bit of an upset victory. Mare is going to lose their second matchup of the entire Season 2. Their second one here in the Spring Split after going undefeated during the fall. They're still going to be at the top of the standings. I believe they're still up there with UTA. I think there are some teams, though, they're going to be clawing their way closer and closer as the weeks go by. So that top 3 at the top of the standings could be changing more and more. But with that, we're going to be taking a short break before our second matchup of the day, which is going to be University of Delaware versus William and Mary. So don't go far. We'll be back very soon with that matchup.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for our second game of the night. We've got University of Delaware facing off against William and Mary, Title 24, and Jag here to bring you the action. Absolutely. And we saw a bit of a doozy on our first map. We got the upset that we were looking for. What's the story here with these two?
It could be another upset. I mean, I feel like there's less of a David and Goliath story here. Because these teams are a little bit closer in standings. William and Mary, they've been on quite an uptick the last 2 weeks. They've won 2 games in a row, but so is Delaware. Delaware, though, they've been middle of the pack for a good part of the season. William and Mary, they have been near the bottom of the standings before this kind of upsurge they've had as of late. So I said this before, but I feel like a very proud father seeing how much they have risen up the ranks and how much they've improved in such a short time. Especially over the break, it seems like they've really upped their game. So I think William and Mary, they could definitely take this here today. But both these teams, again, they're both riding high. They're both riding winning streaks. So it's really a toss-up once again.
And that confidence coming from those winning streaks is going to be a big factor. But so are the maps that we're playing on. And if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, our map pool for today is going to be Ilios, then Eichenwald, and then Temple of Anubis. We've also got Rialto and Busan lined up in those 4th and 5th map slots if we have to go there, and I'm hoping we do. But we're not wasting any time. We're gonna go ahead and kick things off on Ilios right here and right now. University of Delaware in the blue, William and Mary in the red.
And I feel like I've gotten really lucky with the Overwatch gods today, because what are we seeing for the second time in a row as the first point? It is going to be well, and that's going to be, I feel like, the most unique. Again, I said that a bit earlier in the cast. Here again, it's going to be very unique as we've got a Rhine Diva comp versus a Wrecking Ball Sigma. And Wrecking Ball Sigma is not something that you see very often anymore. It was a pretty popular choice, I'd say a few weeks ago, a month ago, but all these changes coming through, you don't see it too much, but we'll see if it works for University of Delaware.
And immediately going on to the point, William and Mary looking to do a little bit of a loop-de-loo. Going into the spawn of Delaware to start things off. Unique hunting the backline, but gets hunted themselves. Burnout able to find the opening pick. Has to hide there off on the ledge, and Nuke Llama will be able to find them. But oh, the boop! The boop is there from Savix. The Hammond comes through big.
Yeah, just you got to be careful there. Nuke Llama tries to go for the Shadow Step at the last second. We saw it work out previously in our last match. This time it did not work out, and I think it was just a bit too much for Unique there. Just got a bit too greedy, and that's a big part of why they lost the fight. But now they've realized, hey, this isn't going to work. We can't do the full rotation because it's very easy to fall off this map. So we're instead just going to go for a complete mirror, and that's exactly what they've done. They've basically mirrored everything except it's going to be a Soldier versus an Echo.
Oh, but Burnout's not going to be a part of the fight for very long. Savix trying to get back in with the Wrecking Ball into the tank line at best, but takes a lot of damage, has to get out. Isn't able to make it, however. So William and Mary are going to be keeping things strong for now.
That rally was committed very late into that fight. I mean, they do get 2 kills off the top of it. Their Soldier's still alive, and they're pretty close to Visor, but I feel like that's something you want when you've got everyone there and for a full re-engagement. Now both teams, they're going to be coming back in. It's going to be a 6v6, and you don't have that. Next for the win, trying to go for the pile driver. Isn't going to be able to take out Burnout. Again, that Zenyatta not living very long.
Yeah, not living too long. Burnout really hasn't had much of a chance to play the game. I don't think we've seen the Transcendence yet at all. Only at 87% now. And William and Mary have had a pretty good time of kind of just running the pace of the game here.
Gotta be careful not to C9. They almost dropped the objective for a second. There's gonna be the first Gravitic Flux come out. They do kill Gavant, so that's pretty big right now for William and Mary. Their first lead in a while. Gonna drop the mines. as well. Be Unique now going to be trying to replicate their own Gravitic Flux, and they are going to land it.
Not only they're going to land it, but now they're going around the outside to try and see if they can't find themselves a little bit of a better angle. But Burnout now able to play the game and saving the entire team from that Gravitic Flux and allowing them to play aggressively. The University of Delaware now pushing William and Mary back to spawn. They've got Attack Visor. They're going to have a Pulse Bomb coming back and a rally pretty soon as well.
I think the biggest thing is you need to get out that Attack Visor to take Unique out of the sky, but we're already starting this off with one less person, two less people.
And a beautiful pile drive from Savas is going to start things off for them, but gets chased away into the minefield, isn't paying attention to where they were going, and Max is just going to be able to pick things up and, well, roll with it.
Roll with it, indeed. I like what you did there. And now William and Mary, I mean, they've got more ultimates. Sure, the rally is online. The Visor is online for Delaware, but William and Mary, they're going to have 3, almost 4 ultimates. This new Llama will have that Pulse Bomb any second. So I think the biggest thing is the Laundry has to make sure that they save the Visor, or save the Transcendence for the Visor, and then you can use the rally as follow-up to put away this point. Or you can use it first, I guess, and both rallies come out at the same time.
Yeah, well, you know what? Gotta keep each other alive. Pulse Bomb into the back. Isn't gonna find anything. The rally still kind of living its life for a little bit longer. Burnout able to find that kill, and Delaware now up a man. Ice still holding on to this Attack Visor. Needs to be careful. Unique in the skies. Ice is looking for you. Bordy, however, going to be able to find Max for the win at the very edge there. And with that Gravitic Flux still online for Gavant, William and Mary do have stuff to work with for this What? Ice. That would have been so cheeky, but just barely missing that shot. We're going to try it over here now? Is that what's... No? Okay.
They're trying to definitely get the high ground for the Visor. And now that they know that Alondri's already used Transcendence, there's nothing really that can counter it except maybe for Gavant's Shield or the Grasp. But that's going to be pretty hard to get. Kinetic Grasp doesn't have the same kind of length that you can get from the Matrix in terms of where it can eat things. And now it's 99.99 and no one has touched yet.
Not only that, but there's a minefield in between them and the point. Attack Visor still online for ICE. Able to put it out now. Transcendence is there, and there's also a Gravitic Flux, but the Gravitic Flux from Gavant going to be immediately taken out of the equation. And with that, University of Delaware should not have too much of an issue taking this point and keeping it.
It just comes down to the support usage, I think, from William and Mary. They didn't use it in the right order. They used the rally, and it forced out the other rally really quickly, and that's great if you can trade like that. But generally, if you use the rally second, you win because it stays on for a bit longer. So then there's armor for more time, and it continues to heal as well. But the biggest thing was the Transcendence. They needed to save that for later. I'm not sure why it was forced out or how it was forced out. They might have been pressured out and they didn't want to die. And I understand kind of like that. It's kind of like your gut feeling is like, oh, I need to stay alive in this fight. But you have to be aware that you still have time for a last fight because it was only 75% on the point for Delaware. So there was time to re-engage. And then they did get the re-engage, but they had nothing left to fight for. They had nothing left to use when they finally got there.
Looking to see if they can put a little bit different of a fight together this time around. They're going to go ahead and allow themselves to keep with the Hammond composition, but William and Mary will be rocking the Reinhardt now for Max. I've seen Max do a lot of damage on the Reinhardt before, so as long as they can close this distance a little bit, it's going to be pretty big cataclysmic event, I predict. At least I'm hoping. Max for the win already at half health, however. Gonna get the go-ahead from the team. Nuke Llama into the back, gonna collapse on the rest of that damage, finding Bordy out. Max really not able to find much with his hammer. The composition from the University of Delaware just dancing around the Reinhardt.
Yeah, they cannot find enough damage on the flank. I think also Unique is putting out a lot of pressure with these sightlines. So even if you run through like as a Wrecking Ball and you get a little bit of damage, then you take a lot of follow-up from the Widowmaker, so it's very difficult to play into this. I think the biggest thing right now is if you're Delaware, you got to focus on the supports. You got to try to take out a Laundry specifically. If they don't have Immortality Field online and they only have a Lucio, that's not a lot of healing.
And TF2 being the aggressive Lucio at bat right now, but Savic's still able to get into the back line. University of Delaware, although they don't hold the point, they are up on bodies. And with an aggressive Lucio, TF2 barely able to get out alive, but helping the Reinhardt find the kill. William and Mary still holding on. They may have lost the point here for a second, but they have not lost their goal nor their target. Continuing to bring Carnage down as Bordy and Ice bounce back, and a strange jump off of the side there from a couple of members of William and Mary.
They just knew the fight was over. Yeah, it was a reset. There was nothing because once the Rhine dove in and the bubble came through and they couldn't actually find the kill, that was pretty much going to be over. And again, we've just seen that William and Mary, they jump off the objective even when a fight is even.
But a Graviton is going to make it difficult to do anything about that. Sound barrier comes through. Ice, however, copying the Lucio after looking for the Reinhardt, not able to find it. Will be able to bring a sound barrier online for Delaware as the hammer from Max lands and does not find what it's looking for. Unique, however, able to find a double kill. Bordy trying to even things out there at the very end. And as the Echo goes down, they'll be going after the Lucio into the back line, and Delaware able to stabilize. Just a couple of members of William and Mary on the point. Unique looking to bring things back, finds 2.
It's a huge play. The high noon gets them the point back, but it took a lot. They used basically everything in their ult bank except for the amplification matrix. So that's 5 ultimates just to win the fight and to even things up point percentage wise. Delaware, they're approaching some things. Bordy very close to that Graviton Surge, and if they hold it for a little bit, they could have a great combo and a combination with the Pulse Bomb. I might not take out the tanks, but you get the squishies out. You get Unique out, who has been on a bit of a tear now that they've swapped to the McCree, and that can help win you the fight and turn the tide once again.
That's exactly what they need at this point in time. The Echo getting zoned out by Gavant. Kill still coming through from Savix on this Hammond. Tour de force, if you will, has not been dealt with, has not been given the respect that they deserve. Ice even in the skies on this Echo able to find themselves a couple of kills as well, and Delaware very quickly answering back. And although William and Mary have been able to build themselves the formidable time bank, or control percentage, if you will, they're going to have to give up the point to Delaware.
They do, but if they win this next fight and they win decisively, that could be the end. There's still 12% that they would need, but if they win and take the point pretty quickly and then they're able to clean up the recontest from Delaware, they could force this to a 0.3, but Delaware has a lot to use. They did use that grab early, and Savix is barely able to get out of there, but does, so they still have those mines as well. Duplicate, Pulse Bomb, I mean, there's so much right now for them to use, as well as a first kill.
Oh, and a beautiful pile drive after the minefield to make sure they can't escape. The play right now from Savix has been absolutely beautiful. Gavant, able to eat that Pulse Bomb. It's, you know, hanging on your wall, but it's not going to win you the match today.
It's not indeed, and now that Unique is taken out during the middle of the high noon, can anyone even touch? Self-destruct committed just to get the remake Transcendence needs, and they do get the touch. So this is still winnable for William and Mary.
The touch is there, the shatter comes through, but the healing for University of Delaware still a bit on the superior side. Lamp only there for a fraction of a second as University of Delaware continue to find themselves here in the kill feed. Nucleon at distance on the Tracer, not going to get it done when Milk up close and personal is going to take their counterpart out. The kills come cascading through, and University of Delaware are going to be able to walk away with the first map.
It was not an easy 2-0, but it's a 2-0 nonetheless. It was very back and forth, and I think the biggest thing for William and Mary is just some missed timings there from their support players. Unfortunately, I hate to call it anyone in this situation, but there were just some ultimate usage. There were some positionings I saw that weren't too super great. I mean, that's not a support fault at all. That's your DPS going a bit too close to the sun. And I did like that they went for the full team resets. I like that a lot. They didn't give up too much ult charge, but especially at the end on that last point, the sound barrier, it had to come out from TF2, and they needed to stay alive, and they die in the middle of casting it. And then before we talked about the rally and the transcendence and when to use those for the ultimates that were coming out from Delaware. Misplayed there just a little bit. So those mistakes, they add up, and although it's very close, if they had played it a little bit cleaner, they might have been able to come out on top of both of those points and win this round 2-0 themselves.
But right now, William and Mary, you know, they still look like they've got all the building blocks put together. It may have been a 2-0 on the scoreboard, but you saw the percentages. It was a very close fight for the majority of the time between the two. I mean, both Hammonds fairly evenly matched. Savix, however, kind of outlasted there at the very end and was able to just completely run the game. I don't think they died. They may have died once or twice during those resets, but I think that might be it.
Yeah, they did not die a lot, especially in the second point. I think when it was on well, it was a lot more back and forth. I think Savix, for the most part, was going just a little bit too deep, and then the shield wasn't enough to keep them alive, especially after that nerf that happened recently, where it was less shield per a person that you ran into. But yeah, it was very close. Like, that's the summary of it. Like I said, it was not an easy win for Delaware. The scoreline, the overall 2-0, makes it seem like that was a bit of a blowout, but it was not at all. It was a little bit more one-sided when we got to Ruins, just a tiny bit more. I think there were some fights that were won by individual skill, like Unique getting that big 2-player high noon kill. That won the fight, otherwise there was no way they were going to win that engagement. So if that wasn't for a big play there, the team play from William & Mary just was a little lacking, a little bit, just a little bit. They've made a lot of progress, and I want to see them continue to progress and get to the place they need to be. But it's those tiny mistakes. When it's a game like that, like, they just add up. And I know I've said that twice in a row, but it's just a very imperative point to make, is that it is the small things that end up having the biggest cost down the line.
Very true. And when moving into a map as difficult to complete as Eichenwald, as we are going to be doing so soon, those little itty-bitty things are the difference between holding point A and fighting it out for your life there on point C. Yeah,
I mean, you miss the timing on one thing, and all of a sudden it can be a snowball effect. We've seen it happen a few times. I mean, Maris had a great snowball effect when they played Eichenwald. They were able to win the first point pretty decisively, and from there, unfortunately, the team they were facing could not find their footing. But they did lose that matchup in the end, so it's hard to compare different teams. I think the biggest thing is teams, if you do lose that first point on the defense, you have to stabilize. You cannot run in and contest it over and over again. You've got to go for the full regroup. You got to either take that positioning right as the gate opens up, or you take the high ground and then play it from there. We haven't really seen a team utilize that high ground very well so far on the defense. A lot of time, they only have it for a very quick second and they drop down, or they don't contest quick enough and the cart gets too much progress for the time they do contest it. It's not in a great position for the defense.
Well, both of these teams are going to have their chance to show us what they got as we head on into the cobbled streets of Eichenwald, ladies and gentlemen, home of Reinhardt. I guess where he served.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, it's like PTSD for Reinhardt, right? This is where he lost his commander. It's very
yeah, but sad. It's where he gained his quest.
True. It's a big part of his story, and if you haven't seen that cinematic, I highly suggest you do it. I mean, all the Overwatch cinematics are great. I wish we had more of them.
Eventually, maybe at some point, 2025. We got it. Let's go.
I did not know that. I didn't know
it'll come out with huh?
Did you see that TF2 just shield bash over the wall? I did not know you could do that. That's some cool brick tech we just saw there. But yeah, sorry, continue. Let's talk about these comps really quickly. Delaware, I hope that's not what they run out with. Sides did swap. There it is. So do they run the bat? No, they don't. So they're gonna run the Echo Pharmacy equivalent. They're gonna run the Wrecking Ball once again. That worked out for them last time, and they're gonna try to mirror it a little bit, but they have an Echo of their own, but they won't have that same kind of healing and help that Ice is gonna get.
Oh, and Ice is already all the way behind. The rest of Delaware trying to make their way up the stairs, but Nuklama not going to allow for that to happen just yet. Although they have an Echo in the back line, it's difficult with Unique dishing out so much damage here in the front.
And like, even though there's a big flank from Ice, and now they're starting to get some value, I mean, your Mercy's caught out a little bit, and you got to find a kill instantly from it. They haven't so far, so even though it's big brain to go all the way around the side, until it actually finds something, it's not going to matter too much.
Oh, almost able to get there, but the ammo packs come through, and Nuklama still on the front line for for William & Mary. Delaware still struggling to find themselves purchased onto the point as they lose a couple of more members, and Bordy gets put into a very tricky spot. They may be back with their healers, but half of the team is nowhere near the point.
Feels like the sides of swabs right now. Bordy's gonna immediately get melted down. This has been a great defense so far from Winbury. They keep trying to take these off angles. They keep trying to flank, and it seems like Melk is losing the duel against Nuklama. At least so far that we've seen. Nuklama, I said this a few times, Tracer has been their best character by far. I've seen them excel on it more than any other. Their Reaper is pretty good too. But that's finally a first pick for University of Delaware, and there's no res on the other side.
Oh, Nuklama getting into a very hot situation there, almost getting their life taken away, but looking to find their way into the back line now. Unique doing that for them, opening the kills up with the kill under the Mercy. University of Delaware not going to have a res and only have a Zenyatta for heals, and that's not a lot of healing. Brig, it tanks that pulse bomb to the face, and Milk able to get the D-suit as well, as the Tracers now become the story. It's either Nuklama or Milk. Which Tracer is going to be coming out on top here?
And it's committed, but is it going to be enough to keep the rest of the team alive? The mines do come out, but they're immediately going to be put into a Graviton Surge, so mines are not going to be enough for William & Mary. It's been a pretty good defense. They've killed off 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but that's all that they can do as TF2 touches just a little bit too late. And Savix there with 3 kills at the end. This Wrecking Ball did not come to play. They came here to win.
And I'm having a blast right now. Both Max and Savix going to be rocking the Wrecking Ball, my favorite hero. Oh, Max, he's right behind you, Max. Look out. Savix now onto the high ground to get a little bit of a peskering in there. Trying to collapse in onto the Echo, but just going to allow themselves to get a nice little health pack. As Gavant takes Bordy out of the equation for Delaware, William and Mary are going to find themselves a footing on the defense.
They will indeed. And here's the thing, like, if Max can just keep contesting the point, it's not going to get very far. I mean, the respawn's not too far from the attackers, but they're not contesting. So this is just free gain right now, and now they've also gotten the DMAC.
Yeah, Max not able to survive throughout that one. Ice able to find the mines. But an Echo mines on the point, Transcendence. Let's clean this up a little bit. And University of Delaware are going to be able to keep their payload moving for 2 minutes and 57 seconds. William and Mary need to put together a defense to shave some real time off of the clock, or they're going to be looking at a very big time bank.
I'm just surprised with how much Wrecking Ball we've seen so far, but it's working, especially for University of Delaware. And I think is that they had the Zarya, which is just better with the Wrecking Ball because those bubbles can be life-saving.
Oh.
And D.Va can be there with the Matrix, but then she might overcommit a bit. She might be caught out, and then you might lose Mech. And now Delaware, I mean, they lose the duplicate, and they might lose Ice, but no one has contested this cart, and it's very close to finishing. They don't get it there in time!
Oh, no. They get the self-destruct out, you get a couple of kills, but honestly, the payload was already stopped there. It's not going to go anywhere until that door breaks down. William and Mary. Still, the payload continuing to move.
And again, it's those little mistakes, Scheidel. It would have been a big play if they'd been able to contest the cart. They would have gotten those 2 kills. They would have held it right at the very end, but they can't get it done. And now Delaware has 3 minutes to get this full cap, and they've got a lot to work with as well. There are some ultimates on the side of William and Mary. I think the rally especially is a big one, but the mine's going to be the first ones used.
Yeah, Max able to find 2 with the mines, swinging on through. Savix looking to return the favor, but Max looking for a full team kill.
Aw, come on, Savix. Come on, you gotta give him the full team kill there. It doesn't just runs off the map. I mean, it's smart, less all charge, but again, that was a mistake by Savix actually, using the mines when they were already down 2 and then immediately losing 2 more after. Just a bit too impatient. Okay, so the reason they did this is because they were just swapping off, and that's smart. So now I'm totally for it. Just get rid of it, trade out, and maybe you can win this. Maybe you can't.
But Unique already showing up big, and there comes the play from Max, getting into the back line, trying to find the Zarya. Bordy now low on health. Beautiful swing into the pile drive. Zarya now completely decimated. The healer's not there right now for the University of Delaware. But the Graviton from Bordy forced out, even though the Zarya, extremely low health, still able to come through. Finds 2.
The heals get there just in the nick of time for Delaware, but they have to use everything in their ult bank now. William and Mary have 3, almost 4 ultimates to recontest this, but can they even get out of spawn? The Wrecking Ball does, but can anyone else? And there's going to be Savix. It's going too far.
Yeah, the aggression right now coming out from William and Mary is nice, but occasionally just a bit too much.
Now they're going to have to reset for the attackers. Delaware, I mean, they get the mines out, so that they get the rally out as well, so that's actually a pretty valuable fight for them. But now they're running out of time. They have like 2 pushes left at best, so they really need to be aggressive, and there's the Ant Matrix to try to do that.
And with the Ant Matrix out, Burnout looking to dish out a little bit of extra damage here on the Zenyatta, able to find Max for the win out there on the flank, looking for the rest of the team. Payload, however, continuing to move the self-destruct around the corner. The environment and the shields both able to keep everybody nice and toasty and safe and warm. Unique on the Deadeye, looking for a target, won't be able to find one. And now it's going to be up to Bordy on this Zarya to land the perfect Graviton. The Graviton goes out, and there goes Max into the backline, forcing out the Transcendence, which goes for onto University of Delaware, but Gavant eats the Dragon, so Ice not able to contribute that ultimate to the fight. However, Halo still making its way through. Shatter lands. but Gavant continuing to find spots. Vorty and Savix stabilizing for just a hair for University of Delaware, and Unique finding 2, but not on the payload, so they will be able to get it. William and Mary with a good defense, but University of Delaware are able to find the holes in the armor.
The cracks have been found already. And now, yeah, there you go. Holes, cracks. I mean, it's basically the same thing. You know, it's a weakness. And for Delaware, it was not an easy feat to get this full cap. They struggled a bit on that second point. But again, it's those little mistakes from William and Mary. They've come a long way, but they still have some ways to go if they want to compete the same level. And I think there, you know, Unique gets 2 kills on the high ground, but it doesn't matter because the objective is not being contested there, and that could have been something that they could have stalled out for a little bit longer if they had jumped down in time, rolled off the high ground, rolled onto the cart. They aren't able to do it, and there's no one else who can contest there. So if Delaware had no time, that would be much more winnable for William and Mary, but they have 30 seconds, so that could be a big factor. Go to extra rounds, and we've already seen how time differences have worked out in the previous series.
And I think it's really going to come down to the first point. If William and Mary takes too long to get this first point, the bridge phase becomes a lot easier for University of Delaware because it's much more about how much time can we stall this, can we get them into overtime before they get to the bridge, because then it becomes a very difficult fight to have. But if they can take the first point quickly, they'll be able to push through with confidence and have a little bit of extra time to get through one of the more difficult parts of the map.
It all comes down to how you start it off and how you finish it. The middle, you know, you can have a few times where it's a little bit dicey there, but really you need to have a quick cap here on this first point to build up some of that momentum that you were just talking about. Comps have not swapped at all, so still the D.Va versus the Zarya battle. Still the McCree versus the Echo.
Oh, and look at that. William and Mary were absolutely waiting for Savix. Baited the Hammond into doing the pile drive and then just collapsed onto the hamster. The rest of William and Mary sitting in wait in the back line now, causing a bit of destruction. Flashbang narrowly misses Milk as they are able to get out on the Tracer. Unique on this McCree, pressing W and holding M1 down, trying to find those Peacekeeper shots into the back line. The pile drive landing, and Nuke Llama able to help finish up the kills as the members of University of Delaware fall one by one. William and Mary will take the point quickly if they can continue and keep the momentum they've already got.
And right now you're seeing this difference in supports. The Mercy, you can fly to the Zenyatta, but it's not going to be like the Brigitte where you can be right there and be the bigger brother, make sure that they're safe with the shield bash and the armor packs. They're just a bit of a difference of play style, and it worked out very well for William and Mary as they're able to find Burnout early on, and unlike Savix who get back very quickly into the fight, Burnout could not.
Oh, neither. Oh, talking about Burnout could not even able to play the game anymore. The pulse bomb lands right there, so the res is going to have to get forced out. William and Mary, however, looking very good right now. See Max trying to make the decision on how they want to initiate, checking all their corners and making sure there isn't a Tracer hiding behind any. Finding the high ground, looking for the boop, able to find it. Pile drive comes through from both Hammonds. Bit of a saving technique for Savix there at the very end as Ice into the back line is going to take one of William and Mary out of the equation. Make that 2, and University of Delaware now able to stabilize a little bit here on the defense.
Yeah, and just as soon as you say that, it looks like you have to curse them because, yeah, now they're down a few. I was going to say that's a great high ground usage by University of Delaware, but now they've had to back all the way up because of those losses, and now you lose the best position you can have on this map.
And a lot of ultimates ready right now for the University of Delaware on this defense, so no real excuse. If you can't get the hold here, University of Delaware opening things up with a kill onto Unique now. Grab onto the bridge, Burnout able to find a couple of kills, and they're expending a lot of what they've got in store. They only have the Transcendence and the Pulse Bomb still online, used everything else in that last engagement.
Yeah, the duplicate coming out at the very end. The duplicate, I say both the tank ults honestly were not needed. I mean, if you find a kill here onto Unique, then it's worth it, but instead you're actually going to go way too far, and Ice is going to lose their life there, so a big overcommitment on ultimates, and also just out of position, unfortunately. Ice should be back pretty quickly because they can fly out of spawn, but if William and Mary take advantage of this, this could be a huge fight for them to win, and then a huge part of why they can cap the second point.
One of the things we do talk about a lot about this engagement is the importance of the high ground, which is no longer available to any member of William and Mary. Sorry, of University of Delaware. Unique able to find both of those kills as well at the top. Pulse Bomb for Nuke Llama set in store. They're not going to need it. Able to clear out the high ground pretty effectively. They've gotten back onto their payload. And Llama just waiting to see if anybody's going to go for him. Beautiful stick onto the Zenyatta, but the bubble is there. That's going to keep the healer alive for just a second longer, but Burnout once again sent back to spawn. An all too familiar location here in this encounter as Nuke Llama continues to wreak havoc into the backline of University of Delaware.
You get the resurrection, but Burnout's so close to falling once again. It's so hard to play into a Tracer, and Unique again with the double K. High noon, and this cart is just not been contested in so long. Roman Mary, it's surprising that they've been taking this long to get it, honestly, because of where the fight's been, but neither has it been contested. They also haven't been on it.
Oh no! The pulse bomb delivered to the team, luckily. The shields were there to keep them alive, and a late contest coming through from Ice is going to cause a couple of staggers to fall in.
Yeah, and I think with that Valkyrie, you got to swap off of the Mercy for Pod. It's just not working out for you, unfortunately. They've tried it a few times. It's actually really funny now that I think about it. Both teams tried to do the exact same thing. Neither of them were able to contest it at the last second, and now Delaware, they're going to go for the full swap. Once again, we saw them do this last time where they got to the Junkrat Brawl eventually. I'm going to do it pretty quickly here, but they need to play around this last corner because this is basically their only chance of having a better time bank now, winning a few fights here and there.
And the Diva Bomb into the back isn't going to find anything because there's a shield there. Pulse Bomb meets an Immortality Field as well. Laundry with an opening kill from the back line into the front. Ice no longer there and just switched over to that Junkrat. So no ult being built up at all, but the Deadeye able to make the mobile push over to the side. Unique now looking to find the high ground. Needs to pay attention to the Junkrat coming back from spawn. Gets boops just out of the way, but the Deadeye still going to find one.
Is it enough? They got Milk, but then Ice is going to find the follow-up. A Laundry finds one. Ice finds another, and it looks like, for the time being, the defenders are going to stabilize. Even if they lose the Baptiste on the high ground, it's just a Tracer. How much can she do? And she's not even going to find that. So, a great hold. Kills off time, but they used a lot there. They had to use quite a bit, but they are going to have some more ultimates on their own. For Delaware, there are win conditions for them. William and Mary, they have support ultimates, and they don't have a grab. I think it's the biggest thing. They don't have a grab right now, and the high noon didn't find enough.
They are hopefully going to be able to build themselves up a tire, but they're going to have the Symmetra shield for this next fight. Rally and Transcendence both online for William and Mary. No supports at all as the amplification matrix, or sorry, the sound barrier coming through from Pod 36,000 going to be grabbing themselves a very big boost to confidence as well to HP, so they can press that W key.
This is a great adaptation. I was talking about this, I think, on Rialto, how the third point isn't great for a more dive-esque comp, and it's the same thing here with the third point on Iconwald. The Junkrat in particular can be very valuable, because again, small corridors can spam through, so just great swaps overall. Milk on the Symmetra has been interesting, but valuable. But I think they did commit a bit too much to the Symbol, and the Sound Barrier basically do the same thing in different ways, so they block damage. This time, they're going to have neither for what's upcoming, and William and Mary now, they've made some swaps of their own.
Yeah, bringing that Reaper into the equation now for Nuke Llama. They're going to get up close and personal, but a big tire waits for the Immortality Field and gets 4. Oh, wow. Beautiful patience there.
Yeah, exactly, Steidel. Just amazing patience. Waits for the Immortality Field to go down. Waits for the grab to end, too, but everyone was still there. They did not spread out enough on the side of William and Mary, and despite having a great time on attack now, at best, they're going to get it with basically 0 time. I don't think there's any way they finish with time here with the fact that there's only 40 seconds on the clock, and the cart has now moved back quite a bit.
And with a lot of time coming into this final corner, William and Mary just seem to have hit a complete brick wall. University of Delaware using the amplification matrix, and it's just going to get line of sighted by William and Mary, but not well enough. Bordy's high enough charge and has the amplification matrix that they're able to find a kill with that orb. The shatter goes through, but it's not going to find anything. Keeping the shield up for Max at 75% to the shatter as the Symmetra shield makes it difficult for William and Mary to get anything done. University of Delaware, 7 seconds left on the clock. They're going to be able to get the hold.
Get the hold, they get the second map, winning again. It wasn't easy. William and Mary, they are looking super good, but it's just it's the small things, and this time it wasn't necessarily the ultimates they were using. It was them being too committed to their comp until the very end. We saw how quickly Delaware was to swap both times they got to that third point. It was like instantaneous. It took a little bit longer on their attack because they wanted to try to use those mines first, but then they used them. then immediately went to the Reinhardt instead, and it was a swap eventually for William and Mary, but it was just too late. They needed to do it like after that first try. You can try to snowball with the comp you have, with the ultimates you have, and if it doesn't work, you can't hold on to them. You can't wait. You got to do it as soon as possible. And they only gave themselves like a minute and a half at most, I think, when the swaps finally came through, and their alt bank was not. You can't build them an alt bank in that time, unfortunately. So they didn't have enough online when they needed it most to try to get around that final corner and get the full cap.
Definitely would have liked to have seen Nuclear go to that Reaper a little bit earlier and give themselves some more time to work with that, especially when you saw University of Delaware do just that. What they were running wasn't working. And finally, they decided to switch over on that third point, and they were able to put pieces together. But William and Mary just kind of hitting their heads up against the wall there for 4.5, 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a very good defensive hold, and it's because they were running a comp that didn't work anymore on that third point. The Junkrat, I think, was huge. I mean, the tire that we saw at the very end, that was like one of the biggest individual plays. But overall, it was creating a lot of space, because when you see a Junkrat grenade thrown your way, you're going to move out. You're going to try to hide. So that kills time off the clock. It zones enemies out. So Ice did a great job both times on the Junkrat. Doesn't matter if it's attack or defense, both times they found a good amount of value. And now Delaware, they're staring at that match point to wrap up this series. All they need is our last potential map, Anubis, to put it away.
And we are going to be going to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, before we hit that third map. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Anubis. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare for map number 3, Temple of Anubis. University of Delaware already with 2 maps under their belt, looking for the third to take the day. Jag, William, and Mary, they've gotten so close to putting the pieces of the puzzle together, but just haven't been able to get the full picture.
Absolutely. The puzzle pieces have come together, but they're missing 2 or 3 in the top right-hand corner, and for some reason, they just can't find the one that fits right now, and I know how frustrating it is as a puzzle extraordinaire myself. 1,000 pieces, missing like 20 of them at the very end. We'll see if they can find them, because it's been close. It's been so close. It's just been a few misplays on the side of William and Mary and a few clutch plays from Delaware that have put the series in Delaware's favor. Now Delaware on the attack. They're going to be going for a dive comp. William and Mary, they're going to be running the Wrecking Ball Diva, which they've had mixed results on. We'll see if they can find the best results they need right now.
Yeah, going to be relying pretty heavily on Unique and Nuke Llama to capitalize on the pile drive kills, but Max with a bit of a tricky drop. Isn't able to find themselves a pile drive position, so they just have to back out of the fight completely. Able to roll through now, bouncing off of the tarp, but getting slapped before they hit the pile drive. Has to pull the shields and back away. Very low health in the process and getting cut off now. Ice on the Genji, onto the bridge, looking for a couple of kills as Milk onto the high ground with the rest of the University of Delaware.
That is going to be the recall being forced out early on, so now Milk's has to play a bit more passive, and one thing I'm noticing is that they're playing for Nano Blade on the side of University of Delaware. You usually don't see a Lucio Ana if you're running dive, especially the Lucio. I'm not sure how that works in, but it's not working for them right now.
Trying to keep everybody speedy, but kind of need to have everybody up and fed with health. William and Mary continuing on the defense to find the kills, but Ice now coming through with Milk, the DPS duo from Delaware, getting it done. Ice able to find another kill there, looking to the high ground to find the Tracer, but booped off by the Hammond. Max now at 63% to the minefield. If they can get that up, get the stall out for a little bit longer, it's a possibility. But William and Mary gonna have to get sent back to the drawing board as Nuke Llama goes for a bit of a stall. There goes Max to keep it alive. But Ice has the Dragon Blade. Not gonna stay alive, not gonna be able to commit it to the fight. Max does die, but the rest of William and Mary are gonna be here to keep the contest alive for a little bit longer.
And that Nano Blade is gonna be on them. Like said, they finally cap the point. The Transcendence is not online yet, so this could be huge for them. Milk does get the pulse bomb eaten, but they get the first kill onto a Laundry, so now there's nothing to stop them just using this Nano Blade right now and getting a very quick cap.
And William and Mary just aren't ready for it. The momentum that Delaware is bringing into this point. The sound barrier has there to meet Unique on the Echo, has the Primal Rage now alive, and the Sleep Dart's gonna miss. Burnout trying to stay alive, doing so much better on the Ana than on the Zenyatta as far as vitality goes. But now, set into the sights of the Tracer, has to back out completely, and that's going to ruin the snowball potential. The ult's, however, still online for Delaware.
It's going to completely ruin the snowball potential. I mean, now the Transcendence is up, but everything else is up except the DPS ults for William and Mary, so I'm not sure what happened there for Delaware. I think the duplicate caught them off guard, and then Unique was kind of pressuring them out. But you can still just throw the Nano in. Maybe the sightline wasn't right. Maybe they couldn't hit it at the ankle, but that was a easy win scenario. Like, that would have been, unless, like, disaster struck, that would have been going in their favor very dominantly, and now things are much back more to even.
Well, they were even. Then Bordy got taken out, but the Dragon Blade comes through. Transcendence is there to meet it. Lingerie absolutely prepared for the situation at hand. Max able to find two into the backline, and Savix being very aggressive on this Winston is going to be able to find a little bit of purchase, but the point still not getting ticked over, and the body's just not there. Delaware back to the drawing board. 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, that was just never going to work with the Nano Blade. You had to get a Laundry to somehow use the Transcendence early on. You did get some other ultimates out. You got the Diva Bomb, you got the Mines, but the DPS ultimates now are back online for William and Mary, so they can just keep cycling and keep building them up quickly. It's going to be very difficult for Delaware to break through. They have a post bomb and a Diva Bomb themselves, as well as a sound barrier not too far behind. But they can't win on their ultimates. They have to win on pick potential, and right now, they haven't really been able to find any.
And into the back goes the Winston. Savix, very low health on that as well. And no, Milk! Gavant eats another pulse bomb.
Second one in a row. Milk has not been able to land these, and now they're going to be caught out a little bit. They might be able to win this duel, but now it's not a duel. It is a 3-on-1, and you're not going to win that any day of the week. And again, like, it's pick potential. Delaware, they have to get an entry pick, and they can't seem to break down TF2 or a Laundry right now. They can't get into the backline, which is what they're trying to do. That's where Savix and Bordy are diving into. But the rotation from the rest of William and Mary has been clutch to make sure that their sports stay alive.
Winston. As the ults are now getting spent, there goes the sound barrier from Pod to keep University of Delaware alive here on the push and get them a little bit further. Unique, however, on the Echoed, Winston able to get a lot of disruption to the back. Target set onto the Lucio, but not able to catch up and find the kill. Unique looking to finish it now. Pod now going down. University of Delaware on the attack with 2 minutes left, finding the kills that they need. It's just going to be a self-destruct as a hope for William and Mary, but that's not going to land. The Transcendence there to stall it out a little bit longer. But with a Dragon Blade in tow, University of Delaware should be able to deal with the respawns. But William and Mary still keeping it alive. Unique able to find the kill onto Ice.
This is why you don't want to have the Lucio. He just doesn't do enough healing to keep you alive in a fight like this.
And the sustained fight going to be the bane of their existence, but able to pump out a nano boost onto Savix to make everybody feel just a little bit better. Delaware able to breathe a breath of fresh air here at the very end, as long as they can finish their kills and keep their supports alive. But with Burnout no longer in the equation, like you said, the Lucio is not going to be enough healing to keep all of William and Mary, all of Delaware alive. William and Mary are going to be able to keep this stall alive for longer and longer. Nuke Llama and Gavant each finding kills.
And the emergency bash is just like the icing on the cake. They're Unique, just making sure that they do not give up any ticks. They don't. And Burnout every time on this Ana has been found out. Ana has no mobility. You miss your sleep dart, you use your nade, it's all over. And that's where they'll be going every time. Now it looks like Nuglama and Max for the win have done a great job at zoning them out, and the rotation is not there for Delaware. Bordy's not able to get there in time to help out their Ana. And when your main support is down, when your main source of healing is gone, Pod, again, like, doing a great job at staying alive, but just not in their kit to keep everyone healed up.
Oh, the punch barely missing its mark, but they're going to be able to find it on the pound there at the very end. Oh, Meteor Strike, very low, but a good idea not to punch back to their team. Would have been a bit predictable.
And now it's looking pretty bad for Delaware. They lost both their tanks. They only have 20 seconds left, and they have no ultimates. Unique, kind of close, but it's Gavant that has a self-destruct, so they get a second life. But Nuglama going too close to the sun, and now this Nano Blade is almost online. This could be winnable, but can anyone touch the Lucio? Does. So now they just need to make sure that the Ana doesn't die.
Burnout down main. Looking for the sleeper onto the Hammond, doesn't land. It gets the nano boost off to their Genji. Ice now half health. Gets booped out and punched. The self-destruct lands. Gavant saving the day yet again on the Diva. William and Mary hold their defense, and they've set a win condition. They only need 1/3 of that second point, Jag. This is their point. This is their time.
If it's now or never. Literally, it's now or never.
Literally,
They can't win this. It's over. But great plays there by the Brigitte by TF2. 2 whip flails back to back that completely destroy any chance of that blade getting anything. Completely boops them out of sight. I mean, they would have died to that T-Vidon probably anyway, but they might have been able to at least get 1 or 2 swinging away. That time, completely cut out any chance of value from the blade. The Nano doesn't save them from the self-destruct. And Delaware, despite having a great first point attack, they can't get anything going on that second point, and it's going to go back down to those little mistakes. The lack of aggression on their first attack, second point, where they could have snowballed. That was the biggest fight, and they weren't able to get the job done.
Hindsight is 2020, and I'm sure that when they go back and watch the VOD, there's going to be a lot of critiques on what went wrong when it came down to controlling the pace, and pace is something that you're going to hear me say a lot, but it's so important in a game like Overwatch, and I feel like when you come to a 2CP Assault game mode, it's the most important, especially coming off of that first capture. If you can keep the enemy on their heels for just a little bit, you can win the game in, well, minutes.
I agree with that 100%. For the most part, we're going to be seeing same comps. The only difference is that Pod's going to be going to the Brigitte, and I like this a lot because it's a better protection for your Ana, as well as you can throw armor packs out instead of having to worry about AoE. It's more LOS, or line of sight, as opposed to area of effect of them needing to be closer to you. But the Genji, I mean, Ice got some great kills at the beginning, but the Nano Blades got shut down time after time again, so I'm surprised they're sticking with it.
Trying to enable Milk a little bit there on the Tracer, I think, at the same time keep the flanking threats alive. But with nothing to really deal with Unique in the skies, gonna give that Echo a lot of free reign. Already 50% to the duplicate.
Yeah, she's gonna get a lot of spam damage in, but can she actually get the final blow? And then can she get the duplicate? And when she does, who is she going for? I'd say go for the Diva, unless you really want to go for a Nano, and then go for Burnout. But I see Milk getting the first kill.
Get the pod, get a big rally up, and keep your team alive for a little bit longer in the fight. But William and Mary aren't really going to get much of a chance to do anything. University of Delaware, the aggression here. Just getting all the way up close, almost touching spawn. Not going to give it the high five, however. Going to go ahead and allow them to regroup. William and Mary going to have to find something to get in. They've got ults working up. It's dangerous to stick with a composition like this. Just because you have a couple of ults up.
It's looking good right now for the University of Delaware because they're able to get their Winston back into the fight. And I think it's the biggest thing they need to stall out with the rally, which they did. But they did go for the duplicate on the Brigitte, but immediately Unique is slept.
Not what you want to see. The rally was even up for Unique, and now University of Delaware control the pace of the game. Milk with the pulse bomb online. Devon able to find the opening kill on Savik, so no main tank alive for University of Delaware right now, but Bordy's looking to change things with the self-destruct, finds 2, and Milk now holds the game-changing ultimate and the savior in their pocket. Blade now online as well as the nano boost, so University of Delaware gonna actually have a lot to deal with the attack.
They've got the rally, they've got the transcendence on the side of Lumiere. They also have the self-destruct, which was the main counter last time around, so they can do all this nano blade once again. I think you just have to force the Nano Blade and hope that Ice doesn't die. It's not really to get kills at this point. It's really just to get out utility from William and Mary to stop them from getting this first point.
Gonna be taking their chances here on the left, and oh no, like fish in a barrel. Small room plus a Nano Blade. But Ice is gonna choose to keep it in tow. Primal Rage goes first for Savix. Out onto the high ground, but dwindled down very quickly. Milk gonna have to help and even things up. TF2 is gonna fall into the back line. And now we're gonna have a self-destruct pair with the Blade as well from Ice. Ice looking for something, but the Transcendence from Alondra going to completely deny that Genji any sort of product there. Nucleum able to find one. Now the kill is coming through for William and Mary, and they've got the point presence to keep percentage going. Gonna be big for the respawns now from Delaware to keep themselves busy. But the kills are still coming through for William and Mary. They've got this in the bag. The question is, the old bank, a little bit wanting. You don't have too much of a snowball potential and not a lot of time on the clock. But you just need one good push.
No matter what, we're going to swim map 4 because now this can be only drawn or won for William and Mary. So this is not going to be where their story ends regardless, but you definitely want to get, you don't want to have a draw. You want to get 1 point on the board because then it's just going to be even harder. Then you got to go to map 6 if you want to win it all. Again, it's the Nano Blade. It doesn't find value. They use it too late, and they use the Primal Rage way too early, and then Savix gets melted down.
Well, now it's a matter of if they can get in the choke. They've got a couple of members fiddling around on point, trying to find some purchase, but no real space being created right now as Milk goes down to Nuke Llama. William and Mary will be able to find themselves in the upper hand, but they're just not pressing W to capitalize on it. And I think hesitation might be a bit of a factor. Unique now, you're trying to use the focus beam, but still not finding targets. Nuke with the pulse bomb, looking for the brig, but gonna back out with the rest of William and Mary.
They're gonna back out. They still have a good amount of time for William and Mary. Don't have a lot of ults. Don't have at least the ults they really need. I think it's getting Duplicate online and then trying to find value out of that. But again, they will have the counter, the Nano Blade. So if they force that out here and then they're able to get some kills after it, that will be the one tick going their way.
Going to be trying to initiate once again with the Duplicate. Unique this time, getting under the Winston. But a Blade in the back, gonna force another Transcendence out from Alondra, who has had that ultimate ready for every single Blade that Ice has brought to the table, yet still, Genji able to get into the back line and get the job done.
And the reason that Blade actually was effective this time around was because it wasn't just Ice running in alone. It was Milk there with the follow-up damage, and oh, this could be a great Seger onto Gavon. This could kill a lot of time off the clock. Not as much as he could have killed, but still a pretty good stagger nonetheless. Helps Pod build up that rally that's now almost online. Now is online, so it was just finally they're able to have someone else there that Ice isn't just like left out on their lonesome. And yeah, it's not the biggest single blade in the world, but it gets out the Transcendence. So William and Mary now won't have that online. They will have their tank ultimates though.
If they can get a good minefield, they can get this point. That's all they really need. One big space-making ultimate, and both of those are explosive that they have in their pocket. But Ice is going to take TF2 out of the field. Onto the bridge. No mines just yet. 3 more kills for University of Delaware. And they almost get half of the... They do get half of the tick that they need. But William and Mary still unable to put the attack together.
And I agree, the mines could have been huge there, but unfortunately it was TF2 getting anti-nated by Burnout. Great play there, and then they lost them, and then they just tried running onto the point. They tried throwing in the bomb from the mid arch, and no one was there. Everyone had cleared out, or they were fighting in the left side room. So just a bit impatient there for William and Mary. There's still a win condition for them, and they get the pulse bomb meet.
Yeah, the pulse bomb meet plus getting Savix out as well. 2 big conditions for them. But coming into this last fight, it's going to be a story of can Alondra get that Transcendence up before the Dragon Blade gets out? Yes, they can, because TF2 is better. Able to find the kill onto Ice. William and Mary now have the upper hand. Alondra going to have the Transcendence at the ready, but they're not really going to need it too much. Nuke Llama going to have the Pulse Bomb into the back line. There goes the Dragon Blade from Ice coming out from spawn, but the Transcendence is there and absolutely prepared. Genji not going to be able to find much purchase at all. William and Mary continuing to deal with the respawns being thrown at them. TF2 able to find yet another kill, and Savix falling low. Milk as well gonna go down. Delaware losing member after member. Self-destruct gonna get it done. Gets 2. And it's a nano boosted Hammond, although I love to see a University of Delaware not gonna be able to make clutch out of it.
Nope, and they aren't able to touch, and William and Mary does stay alive. They're able to win this map. We already knew going to map 4 no matter what, but here they're able to get a point on the board, which is so important for momentum and staying in the series. I mean, sure, like we see in the series either way, but now you know that map 5 or map 6 is not going to be where you're going if you need to win this. So it's a lot of good momentum for you, a lot of positive vibes going your way. And now you're seeing some of the mistakes come out from University of Delaware, the small mistakes, but having big results there. Usage of ultimates and the order that they did do them in just was not enough to get them ahead. And despite having a great first point attack, second point they faltered and they weren't able to hold long enough for a draw or a victory.
And I like the fact that we're starting to see William and Mary catch on to the fact that University of Delaware feels comfortable on these select compositions. And so figure out the opposite to it. Right there, a perfect example is that Transcendence. We saw it every single time, saved and pocketed for the time that Ice had the blade. What was it, 5 blades in a row? We saw no kills come out of it at all for Ice. Like, space was made, and the Dragon Blades were sometimes, you know, advantageous for Ice's team, but for the most part, those Transcendences completely shutting down that hero.
Yeah, there were no direct kills from the Dragon Blade, regardless if it was nanoed or not. The only time I think there was a direct kill was actually coming out from Milk, who got just was able to follow up on the Tracer there. So the Transcendence was huge, and it was just perfectly timed, which is why I was so shocked that Delaware were still going to use that on their defense, because on their attack, that was what they really need to swap out of. There were some big antis they got here and there from Burnout, but Burnout was also getting zoned out a lot on the Ana. And when the team's falling around you, you just can't do enough as an Ana to keep it alive. You can nano the Wrecking Ball, which we saw at the very end, but the Wrecking Ball wasn't even able to stay on the point because they had to keep running around and trying not to get mowed down too quickly.
Well, now we're going to be moving on to a map where switching up your composition might be the best way to go as we head to Rialto. All 3 points, you can run the same composition if you want to, but we've generally been seeing a lot of teams break out a composition for the courtyard, switch it up for the stairwell, and then that last point being a little bit more cagey starts to get a little more brawly.
Yeah, and if you're a good team, you can swap up comps pretty quickly. You're not going to hold on to the ultimates. You're just going to immediately go for the full swap, which I think is kind of you see a team that's very decisive and a team that's done a lot of VOD reviews and a lot of strategy sessions to figure that out. You can still run the same comp for a few points, especially the first 2, but I feel like that third point, just like Eichenwald, has to be played a bit more uniquely for you to really be able to capitalize on the map geometry, especially the topography of high ground versus no high ground. There is a lot of high ground here, as we see. We're about to go through one of those high ground points. Oh, there it is, and what a beautiful view we have here in Italy.
Having fun on my roller coaster ride here in Rialto. Later, I'll take a ride on the boats there, the gondolas. I've heard they're quite peaceful, but that's not what we're looking for. We are looking for warring sides here as University of Delaware look to stop William and Mary here on the attack, but Max gonna be rocking that Hammond Savix as well. And the counterpart, which ball is gonna come out on top? Max with a precarious drop. Looked like the grapple wasn't ready. Just eating up a little bit of damage for the supports. Not quite sure just yet, but TF2 not feeling very comfortable having to press that S key. Burnout will be able to open up that first kill.
And they're stilling out a little bit because Max is just not able to find the value of the game. They're constantly weak. That's kind of the risk of running a Brigitte Zenyatta, is you're not going to get a lot of healing from your team. As a Wrecking Ball, you kind of have to just run around and find health packs. But that puts you at a risk. A lot of the health packs on this map are much farther than the card is right now, or at least on this first point. There's only a few behind them, and already they've been used.
Yeah, that makes it difficult for players like Tracer and players like Hammond, that they're going to get deleted there. At the very beginning, William and Mary still having a bit of an issue getting purchased on this point. University of Delaware doing a good job of taking advantage of the aggression that they're able to put out. And 3 health, Unique barely getting out alive.
Yeah, they're just lucky how the spawn's design is that there's already a natural wall there, so they don't have to really worry about any follow-up damage coming into them. And it's smart because they're going to give more ult charge now to their healers. So Alondri very close to that Transcendence, which will be great because University of Delaware is running the Zarya once again, so they will have a counter to that Graviton Surge once that comes online.
Speaking of coming online, Unique looking to get the Echo, is able to find the Hammond, and oh no! It's double Hammond into the back line. Transcendence definitely going to be committed here. They are going to boop and bounce around the point. Ice taking Max out, and Milk getting the rest of the team started and pumped up. It may be a duplicated minefield on the point. The rest of William and Mary are going to have to go back to spawn.
And now they're running out of time. They had a great Temple of Anubis, but that momentum is not carried over. And I think the biggest thing is University of Delaware, they've gone back to the comp that has worked out best for them. They are not running the Genji, they're not running the Ana. They're running the McCree and the Echo instead, which has been a great 2-1 punch for them. Now they have so many ultimates going into this last minute. As long as they don't use more than 2 and they win the fight outright, they don't even have to win the fight, actually. They can just hold it at the actual capture
point.
Oh, no
way.
But Savage, oh my goodness. How did they get out of that?
Slippery. Getting out with just a fraction of what was left of their HP. Oh no. And now Ice spotting the Hanzo into the back. Milk gonna help finish out Nuklama, but Unique taking advantage of a bit of a misposition. Savix into the back, almost knocking themselves off of the edge there, it looked like. They want to boop here. Oh, looking for the Zenyatta, but Zenyatta says no thank you. Go ahead and let Bordy take me out, and that is an unfortunate DMAC. As Gavant going to immediately be sent back to spawn William and Mary. 4 ultimates online. Payload hasn't been able to get very far. They need to get something together, and it needs to happen now.
And they're going to have 5 once this infra site is online. But I think even though they'll have more ultimates, the question is how do you use them? If Burnout can get this Transcendence online, or if they can get ultimates out on the other side, and then again, it's all about that cap point. It's not necessarily about winning the fight here. That would be huge for Delaware on this defense. They might get a little bit trigger happy and try to go for the grab early, and that's what they do.
Yeah, the grab goes early, and the Transcendence comes a little bit later to make sure that the Hammond can't grab anything advantageous. Gavant, however, with the self-destruct, will find Burnout into the back, and that's going to be big. University of Delaware no longer going to have the Transcendence online. Question is, can William and Mary get the damage done in the absence of that Zenyatta? Because the second Burnout gets back, that ultimate is going to be back on the table. Already able to find the opening kill. Unique, able to stop that Deadeye from getting off. It's going to be up to Nuklama to keep things alive. The payload now moving. They're going to have their Transcendence back. University of Delaware will get one more fight.
They will indeed, but the pulse ball might connect. It doesn't connect now. Burnout able to get that huge kill and the Transcendence, but Unique still is just fragging out since they swapped to this Widow.
Yeah, the Widow has been the game changer so far, just picking off the heads of these squishies. But the rally coming through from Pod is going to make it difficult for Unique to find any of the headshots. Mines as well from Delaware. William and Mary just don't have the point presence. And they're going to have a staunch defense if they want to keep their hopes up and take it to Busan.
And there was a great play there by William and Mary. Max for the win. It boops Burnout into the Diva Bomb, so they were trying to back up. They were trying to get behind natural cover. Immediately gets just like walloped right into the line of sight. Self-destruct goes off and kills them. But actually, the fact that they had that Transcendence for that last fight is kind of the winner there. There was only 3 of them on the point, but they were able to find a kill or 2. Unique isn't able to get the insta shot because the Transcendence is blocking their line of sight as they try to find heads over and over again. And then, like you said, point presence, it just wasn't there enough from William and Mary. They had one person alive, but they weren't actually touching the cart. And now, because of all of that, Delaware, they know what they need to put away this series. All they need is the first point of Rialto.
Yeah, you know, their break, their end of day is so close. It's merely a point away. And William and Mary are really going to have to put a stopper on the momentum, and I'm not sure if the Widowmaker is the play to do so.
It was working out, but here's the thing. When you're on defense, it's very easy to be pressured out by like an Echo, for example. On attack, it's a lot harder because you don't want to overcommit as a defender to like run into the Widow's sightlines, because then even if you get the Widow, you might be killed by one of their teammates. But now if you can be a bit more aggressive as Ice, as long as you know are avoiding those shots, but Ice can just kind of run up, take that Widow out of the fight, and if they're dead, that's just going to be most of their firepower gone early on.
And you can see just barely the outline of Nuklama hiding on the left. Being a sneaky Tracer. Seeing if they can't get something done. Oh, has Ice in their sights. They can get close enough for the one clip, but no, up into the sky. Echo takes off, and so does the fight. Ice able to find the opening kill onto Max, and William and Mary have relied heavily on that Hammond in their defense and attacks here. With that being said, payload going to be moving into the open corridor where Unique will have the upper hand, able to find Bordy out as well, but now Hammond setting their sights onto the Widowmaker into the back. Burnout and Milk able to find a couple of kills, and this Widowmaker no longer in a comfortable position as Ice does exactly as you said to do, Jag. Just pressures the Widowmaker a little bit and forces the retreat.
Oh, they just jumped almost right into Ice's waiting arms, but I was really surprised that Unique didn't take a more aggressive angle. They played really far back early on.
Well, no matter how far back you are, you're not safe from Savix. Oh, Savix, no! Oh, barely. Almost getting back, but Savix gonna have to take a bit of a dip there. William and Mary stabilizing. If they can find a couple of more kills, they can comfortably deter the attack.
Just, you know, just gonna get a nice triple kill at the very end, because why not? They've got the Infrasight, they've got Pulse One, they've got Transcendence, they've got Rally, so everything besides their tank ults is what William and Mary has. So there is a world where they can hold on this defense. I mean, there's only about a little bit more than half the time left for University of Delaware, so I think if you're William and Mary, it's again the same thing on defense. You just can't overcommit, especially when you know that you don't have the rest of the map to play for. This is the end-all be-all, and Infrasights is a great way to start it off.
2 minutes now on the clock for University of Delaware, and a Transcendence in their pocket. A lot of other ultimates will be online soon, and Unique pressured to keep things alive. Pulse Bomb goes out but doesn't find a kill. But Milk is still able to find the best of Max right now. The Hammond getting caught out by the crowd control. The flashbangs dealing with the ball pretty well. Gavant now onto the high ground, looking to keep things alive, but immediately taken out of the equation. Milk finding a Deadeye now, looking for the kill onto Max. A Transcendence from Burnout to make sure they get it through, and the grab from Bordy to get it done. University of Delaware are going to seal the deal and take the day.
William and Mary, they keep it interesting. They kept the maps very, very close up until the very end. They could not break this defensive hold that was set up by University of Delaware. I think that they would send Max in on a run, and then they couldn't find the value they needed. They couldn't find the kills they needed, and neither could Newcomb, unfortunately. They needed those flankers to get a little bit more value. Weren't able to do it, and they had a pretty good defense. I think the problem is that they didn't contest it soon enough, and Unique, who really popped off on this Widow, looked very impressive. Didn't take that aggressive angle at the beginning. I think the problem is that they were scared of the Echo running into them. But when you're playing basically for the last half of the point instead of the first half of the point with the sightline you're taking, that's just free real estate. And it was so quick that Delaware pushed up halfway for what they needed. And then, I mean, basically on their first push, they got almost all the way to the end.
If they'd gotten all the way to the end of the first push, I wouldn't have been necessarily surprised. I think the big thing that you touched on there was they were afraid of the Echo. The mental game really started to affect William and Mary there towards the end, to the point where they were respecting things that hadn't happened yet. They were saying, well, they're going to play that Echo, and that Echo last time went real well, so we've got to give them a little bit of extra space. And the Echo said, oh, well, if you're going to give us extra space, A, we're going to take that payload advancement for free, and B, I'm going to do the same thing that I did earlier. It's just going to take me a couple seconds longer to get to you. But it's Rialto. There's so many other ways for that Echo to manipulate and get around and navigate that space.
We are going to take a very quick break before we go to our interview for one of the players from the University of Delaware, but we're going to see some of the things that Shadow was just talking about in some replays while that break happens.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a treat for you. Savix from the University of Delaware is here to give us a little bit of an insight onto what we just saw.
Yeah, so it was a good game. We got a little rough on Anubis. 2 CPs rough. Heard 3 CPs coming in Overwatch too, so we're excited for that. Yeah, it was good. Got to test out some new stuff. So yeah.
I gotta ask about Anubis because it was the only map you lost, but it was also it was still a close map. But I gotta wonder, the Nano Blade. It's the only time we saw you run the Genji Ana, and it seemed to not find much value over and over again. So is there any points where you guys were like, oh, let's try to swap this up, or was it like a comp that you kind of had set in stone, so you weren't gonna make any changes to it later on?
No, I think we were pretty set on it. It's just like communication. We're working on that, but overall, we were committed to it the whole time.
And I gotta ask, I mean, you guys have been on a bit of a roll. I think this is your 3rd win in a row now, which is a bit different than how you guys did in the fall. In the fall, you had some great wins, but also some losses, so it was a very hot and cold kind of thing. So coming into the spring split, what do you think has changed, and what has led to this string of successes back to back to back?
I think that we had some good energy. I have been elevated from club to be playing here while our main tank isn't here, so I think it's just we have good energy with it. Other than that, I'm not really sure because I wasn't here during the fall, but yeah, we've had good energy.
Awesome. And is there anyone you want to shout out on the team before we let you go back to your teammates? Anyone at all? It doesn't have to be a teammate. It could be of a coach, anyone.
I'll shout out Milk, Burnout, and Pod. They've been working a lot with me to get up to speed on certain things, so they've been very helpful with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here, Savix, and best of luck with the rest of your spring split.
Thank you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I am going to be hopping over to a different channel, so I'm going to have to bid you guys adieu for the night, but Jag's going to be sticking around for the next 2 matches. I believe you've got... Where's my handy-dandy? St. John's versus the CU Boulder coming up next.
Yep, and then after that, it's going to be Wichita State versus Tennessee, so some really awesome matchups coming up, but as Title said, he's going to be on EGF Overwatch, so there are going to be some great matches on that channel as well.
Yeah, we're going to be having Quinnipiac University versus St. Peter's University here in just a minute, followed by Niagara versus University versus UT Arlington. Getting a little jumbled up there. The beard's getting in the way, I think. I'm not quite sure. But we are going to take a quick break before that next map and get our other play-by-play caster in here. So stay tight.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to a lot more Overwatch. I am Septilin, still joined here by the wonderful Jag to bring you the first of our 2 games tonight, St. John's University versus the University of Colorado.
Absolutely. It's already been a great night. We've seen no 3 Overwatch here on the main channel. Both the games we saw already 3-1. And I think we might see some 3-2s, maybe it's even some map 6s like we saw last week of how tight both these games should be. But like we said, St. John's versus Colorado are going to be the first one on the docket. And these are both teams that have been on a bit of an upswing. St. John's, though, they've been the most fun team to watch, I think, since the game up. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've mentioned it quite a bit. It was a kind of in-between season tournament between the fall and spring split. It was with the teams that were a part of the Vincentian institutions. And St. John's, they were not my pick to win it. They looked great. And since then, they have had some amazing games, been on a 3-game win streak, including 1 win against Marist. But Colorado, they had their upsweep start a little bit earlier. They got a new player in, a player that I know very well because I've been on a team before of them, Cloud, who is coming on this hit scan DPS role and has looked amazing overall. They have done very good, and they had a great victory themselves last week, a 3-2 victory over Wichita State, which we'll see a bit later. So they know they can go the distance. They know they can run the gauntlet, and that 3-2, that was in 6 maps as well.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about a close score, but a winning game nonetheless. And you've already mentioned Wichita State, who we're going to be seeing in just a little bit after this game, going up against a team that made quite the impression last week. They're going to be going up against the University of Tennessee, who was able to defeat Marist College in, I mean, probably the closest Overwatch match I have seen in seemingly ages. They were able to, I keep calling them the Giant Slayers, but now we've got to check out these two teams right in front of us. St. John's University, like you said, super fun to watch, a great group of people, and some great players of Overwatch on the up and up against the University of Colorado, who have been rather consistent for pretty much the whole season.
Yeah, and they've been one of the upper mid-table teams, I would say. They definitely like faltered a little bit here and there, which is why I think their victory over Wichita State is really impressive, because both of those teams have been around the same win-loss and had the same opponent wins, same opponent losses a lot of this series, so they were able to separate themselves there. But now St. John's a team that has really put themselves on the map, so this is going to be a big challenge for Colorado.
Yeah, no doubt on that. St. John's, they've really put themselves on the map, and running out, we're going to see an Echo Tracer on both sides, but the tank lineup going to be a lot different as well as the support. So we're looking at Ball Diva, of course, versus that Winston Zarya, that double bubble comp, if you will. One known for its burst ability and ability to do a lot of damage very quickly, but St. John's going to lose Liam Lizard very early on. Cloud able to find that first elimination. The Tracer already 40% to a Pulse Bomb as well. I believe Pulse Bomb is still to this day the fastest charging ultimate in-game, and as Funkmaster is the next to fall, the main tank now missing for Colorado. Liam Lizard going to get brought back up onto his feet. Slurpee with a great resurrection there, and his Daddy D starts to fall. St. John's, we talked about it already. This team, they're going to be hard to beat.
They did cap the point for on the side of Colorado, and Cloud is still alive with the Pulse Bomb. They're going to use it, but it's not going to find enough, and that is going to be a quick return of the point to St. John's University. And I think that's the biggest thing of the Winston versus the Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, I'm surprised we're seeing him a lot today.
Agreed.
I thought that, you know, he'd be complete out of the meta, but he's still very valuable because Mr. Qualman can just be a nuisance in the backline, and Funkmaster is a huge target. They don't have nearly as much mobility, so once that bubble is gone, that's bad, and so is losing your Tracer early on.
Yeah, losing your Tracer that early on in a fight is going to be nothing short of a showstopper there, and now Cloud taken out of that fight. Mr. Koala Man, like you said, Wrecking Ball, he's been, you know, people have been a little bit confused what to do with their tanks right now, and we see pretty consistently Wrecking Ball, he got a nerf, but he's really not going anywhere. And Rich with these bombs, I mean, that's what 4 eliminations in a row we've seen with those bombs coming out from Rich. Cloud being 2 of them, unfortunately. University of Colorado, they're going to have Nano, they're going to have that Rally online, but St. John's, they're about to have 5 of their own ultimates online. The only one they don't have is Pulse Bomb, and I mean, this Tracer doesn't even have to do anything because Rich is just on a rampage.
Cloud stopping over to the Widow, takes out Rich, so now that carry is gone. They can't go for the res because they've already gone onto it, and that duplicate now going to be offline for a little bit. So Colorado, they have a great opening because they forced out the Valkyrie already, and Bird Boys does have that Nano, so they could try to commit it here to Funkmaster.
Yeah, absolutely, and that Nano definitely, or excuse me, not Nano, that Rally, excuse me, no, that Valkyrie would have been so much better had the Rally not been popped as well from Illicit, but they had to commit that Rally, trying to keep the team alive, so that's going to be one support ult for both teams. Daddy D about to have a transformation of their own, and Rich with the vengeance kill of a lifetime, swaps onto Widowmaker and kills the very Widow that killed him, so a great shot there. Looking to find Daddy D as well, but can't find it quite yet. Using the SMG to the best of his abilities, we're probably going to be forced out of this transformation just very soon. Gonna go toe-to-toe with Bird Boys. The Nano does come out, I think, onto Daddy D, who's transformed into that Diva at the moment. So now we see the pressure coming out. Rich trying to stay alive, got that Mercy Pocket online, and Daddy D just unable to do any kind of necessary damage. Mr. Koalaman picks up Ruby. Cloud finds Slurpee, the Fiscal takes Cloud out right off the back. So the Mercy is down, but St. John's, they've got the numbers.
St. John's got the numbers. They've got time in their favor.
There is
someone touching the point, but it's just going to be a Primal Raging Winston. How long can they stay alive in this form?
I honestly, I don't think it's going to be that long, in particular with a Tracer there. You see that he's got the Discord Orb on him as well. He's able to stall for a little bit, but it's not going to be nearly long enough. And Rich, I mean, we saw a good performance from St. John's here, but Rich, player of the round right there. I mean, the eliminations have to be close to, I mean, well over 10, maybe even close to 20. That was insane to see that kind of damage coming out. Those eliminations, every single fight, Rich was getting 2, 3, 4 eliminations. I mean, nothing short of huge there.
It was huge indeed, and I think Rich had one of the biggest BM plays I've ever seen, going for the Widowmaker duplicate. That's
and then
not
killing that Widow.
It's not a character that you usually duplicate. Like, if you're gonna go for it, you want to go for the tanks almost every time, because that's gonna find the most value. You get to stay alive, you get like an extra life, or virtually 2 lives if you go Winston in that scenario. But a very big statement there by Rich to get the kill onto Cloud, and then not really do much else with their duplicate, but their team was so far ahead for St. John's University that there was nothing that Colorado could do for that round. But that was Lighthouse. This is Ruins, and it's a whole new day, and we're going to see some more Widow on Widow action here.
Yeah, and the comps, I mean, the comps really cannot get much different. Other than the fact that they both have a Widowmaker, it is 5 different heroes on each team. So this is really going to be quite the matchup. We've now got that Wrecking Ball Roadhog combo, one that you see relatively often. We used to see it a while ago, and now it's going to be going up against Double Bubble, which is not meta, so to speak, but quite popular. So we see a lot of teams running it, and Mr. Qualaman goes for the boop, unable to find it, gonna go for one more missed. Rich picks up Cloud, one Widow able to take out another, an immediate 5v6 in favor of St. John's. Looks like they might even get an early point capture because of it. Nope, they're gonna go off the point. University of Colorado, they know if they let up here, they're gonna be giving up a lot of free percent, so they're gonna keep that pressure on and try to wait for their Widow to get back.
They do cap the point first again, but we saw what happened last time. They immediately gave it right back, but they do take out ITG, so
good.
This time actually with a person up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, they've got a person up here. ITG taken out of the fight. Only 30% to that whole hog, and I wouldn't be surprised to, see a swap coming out here, as I was saying. And ITG going to swap onto the Diva. Mr. Qualaman going to be caught a little bit in the back line, but Wrecking Ball has plenty of health to stay alive and make it out of that fight. University of Colorado now getting up to 20%, 1/5 done with the map, and that's already a lot better than we saw there on Lighthouse. Rich, however, able to take out Cloud once again. Just currently seeing that Widow v Widow matchup that Rich is always coming out on top of, but Funkmaster with the dive able to find a Rich off the back of it. So a Widowmaker traded for a Winston, traded for a Widowmaker. Rich gets res, but Fiscal's gonna fall to Ruby, who's got a pretty good amount of energy on them now, halfway to that Graviton Surge. St. John's University, they've got to crack this open. University of Colorado already 50% there.
They also almost have that nano boost online. They use the information on the other side, but that nano did come out, and now Daddy D is starting to pop off.
Yeah, one Echo into another. I mean, first it was Rich, but now Rich back on the Widowmaker, and honestly, I don't think it's working out here. I think get back on that Echo and just rain hell from above, and yeah, there we go. Rich swapping onto the Echo. That is going to be 2 in a row for me. I'm feeling good today. Mr. Qualaman going to take himself off that side of the map. Now has that minefield online, but going up against 4, almost 5 ultimates from Colorado, that minefield is going to have to be otherworldly to make it worth going up against 4 ultimates.
And I agree that the swap from Rich is the right one. They were winning the Widow duel, but they weren't putting up enough pressure on. And now Cloud is actually going to be winning the duel here.
Yeah, Cloud able to find that elimination, but Rich gonna get that resurrection Rich gonna get resurrected straight away. Slurpee gonna be the one to find the resurrection. Funkmaster is able to take Liam Lizard off the map, and Rich picks up Funkmaster off the back of it. It's gonna be one into another once again. The Echo already finding great value, taking out that main tank of the double bubble comp. And Mr. Qualaman, he's gotta let the idea of booping people go. He needs to be focusing a little bit more on the shooting and getting a little bit of extra damage like he did there onto Bird Boys and Daddy D. Ruby picks up Fiscal, but ITG already finding not 1, but 2 eliminations onto Colorado. As we tick into overtime here, we're gonna see a desperate stall from Colorado. They wanna activate that overtime, and they're able to do so. They're going to be pushing in 2-2 ultimates here.
And I think you nailed it right on the head. Like, if you're Mr. Qualaman, your knockback is so much weaker. So those plays you could make before, it's not going to be there. You can't get the boost. You can still do a lot of damage. You can still be quite an annoying person in the backline, especially if you focus down Illicit or Bird Boys. I mean, those are pretty immobile supports that are on their side. So that's what you got to do if you're playing the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his knockback nerfed by a quarter, 25%, so now it has made a huge difference. The boop ability just isn't the same. ITG gonna commit an early bomb. I don't think, excuse me, we're gonna see 1 elimination there onto Daddy D. It's gonna be an elimination very early. They're gonna get their mech back completely for free, and Colorado, they've got that transformation offline. Liam Lizard is able to pick up Funkmaster there, and now that's gonna be taken out as well. Mr. Qualaman just eating these sleep darts, and honestly, if you're Bird Boys, you've gotta start sleeping somebody else, because these sleep darts under the Wrecking Ball really aren't making the impact that you're looking for.
What isn't going to make the impact, though, is that you get an ultimate out for if you're Colorado. You don't use anything. You know you only have to win one more fight, and you get a very early pick onto the Tracer, so they're going to have to use all of their blinks to get back to this point.
Yeah, and there's grab from Ruby early on. I don't think that grabs anybody. No, looks like it sure didn't. And now Rich gonna go with a little more consistent of a swap onto the Winston. Gonna put the pressure onto the Ana in the back line. Gets the Primal Rage. Gonna at least throw the Ana into their team, which I think is a great call here. And with a great shot onto Bird Boys there. Liam Lizard gonna be taken out by Daddy D. The support's traded up. The off tank now missing for University of Colorado. That Zarya disappearing. And the swap from Daddy D gonna be forced out of that transformation. So now both transformations offline. Fiscal only 8% away from the pulse bomb, but he's gotta land. And also, but no, Illicit with a great whip shot, close quarters, able to take him out of the fight. Funkmaster finds Rich. Rich able to find them with the mines immediately after. The numbers are not here for St. John's right now, and they've got maybe 5 seconds to keep this point alive. Looks like they're going to be committing both the Mercy and the Wrecking Ball on point, trying to stall. Find a resurrection onto Rich, who finds Daddy D. Ruby picks up Qualaman straight away, and the point will flip in favor of Colorado. Somebody's got to get on point, because this high noon might zone them off for just long enough, but no, the very last second somebody's able to touch. Already 2 down, make it 3 in favor of St. John's University. Cloud picking up a double kill in the final matchup there of the fight, and now overtime ticking away. St. John's, it's their now or never moment, and it's starting to look a little bit like never as Cloud finds a 4th kill in the matchup here. Going to be able to put the pressure onto the Wrecking Ball as well. The man on a solo rampage, carrying University of Colorado into map 3 here on Ilios.
Yeah, and Cloud has always been really, really good at the McCree. I remember a highlight that we had for our roster reveal video where they got like 6 kills with a Deadeye, or like 5, and then they got the last kill with a flashbang. So McCree definitely in their wheelhouse, and the swap from the Widowmaker to the McCree made a world of a difference. But the other thing that was really big there was that Illicit committed a very interesting rally. They committed it even though they were down, and I was thinking, oh no, that's not what you want to do there. There's still like 25% on the point to be capped. They can regroup, but that rally actually kept Colorado in that fight, so they were able to regroup because of it, and they just overpowered St. John's there. And Mr. Qualman, again, like, they're finding good value on the Wrecking Ball, but I think Winston might be the right play here. It worked out really well in Lighthouse because there's a lot more places to roam. On that last map, not as many. Now here on Well, you can roam still pretty well, but you gotta be careful about the Well, because, I mean, you might try to boot people in, but you might find yourselves being the one booped in the very end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of boopability coming out here. I mean, there's a Brig, a Wrecking Ball, a Roadhog, a Winston, so there's a whole bunch of ways people can be booped off into this hole, into that death pit smack in the middle of the stage. We see a very early commitment from Funkmaster. He's going to be able to stay alive just long enough. Rich gets a lot of ult charge off of it, already 40% to that transformation, so that's going to be super early on, over double what Daddy D has in that time bank. Fiscal taking a lot of damage, may have to commit that recall, but no, looks like they might just really be able to make it out. Liam Lizard going to find that first elimination onto Funkmaster, but Fiscal being chased into the depths here. I mean, they are not trying to let him get away. Looks like they're going to be able to live just a little bit longer now. First point cap in favor of Colorado. That's going to be 3 in a row where they get the first cap, and it looks like they may lose this, losing their Brigida very early on, a 5v6 in favor of St. John's. And Colorado, even if they lose this, they've gotten a lot of ult charge out of this fight.
Not only that, but they keep getting point percentage. Every time we're seeing that St. John, they're the ones getting the first kill, but they can never capitalize on the objective.
Yeah, St. John's, they're just not coming out fast enough. I think that's a great observation. They get a kill, they get momentum, and then they lose. I mean, what is that, 25% of the point already? So now they're really going to have to find these kills, clean it up, but they just gave up what could be a quarter of their offense later on because they just weren't fast enough following up on that Winston kill. In particular, that Winston was probably the best elimination they could have found to push into the enemy team.
So then they have to commit the duplicate at the very end of that, so they don't get the grab off of it. Rich loses that ultimate, and they have stuff to work with still, but so does Colorado. So one less ultimate in your bank, it's not great for you. And again, Mr. Coleman looking for these boot plays, but just hasn't been able to find them. And going against a Brig is pretty dangerous because she could just stun you and then whip you off the map.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been a disaster, but it looks like Illicit is going to give up that fight. And Mr. Qualaman, he's got to let go of the old Wrecking Ball, because what we're seeing is great, but he's going way too consistently. He's looking for these boops, and he really needs to be focusing more on the team play, on getting in and out, and just dealing the extra damage in the backline to be annoying. Both teams dropping a support hero. Brigida versus the Zenyatta now taken off to the Transcendence offline for St. John's University as well. The Valkyrie being committed from Slurpee, trying to make up for that missing support. It looks like they're going to be able to do so as ITG finds Funkmaster right away. And Daddy D, that transformed Roadhog, does have the whole hog, but they're going to be whole hogged right away by ITG and my favorite Roadhog skin in the game. I love the snowman. I think it's so creepy. And Daddy D gonna pop a whole hog of their own. They're gonna be sent into the hole, taken out. One Roadhog takes out another. And you called it. You're gonna look for these boobs, but at the end of the day, you might be the one that gets booped.
That was amazing play by ITG, because, you know, if you're an Echo, usually you can just fly out of it, but there, you're in the Roadhog form, and it doesn't stop until time either runs out, and it's just like the luckiest timing in the world, or you die. And if you die from the fall, then you can't actually ever get out of that form. So a great play by ITG, just completely shut down that ultimate. And now St. John's, they're approaching last fight territory.
Yeah, they're definitely approaching last fight territory here. The pressure coming out, and these teams trying to make the magic happen. Going to commit a Transcendence very early on from St. John. It looks like it's already going to be run out as well. Going to be Primal Rage in this corner. The Discord is on, but he's not able to find the value. The Funkmaster with the leap, able to take Liam Lizard out of the fight. Transcendence is going to be gone as well as it was popped in an attempt to stay alive. Mr. Qualman going to be booped into the well, and it looks like the pile drive just really able to keep him out of it. Another transformation coming through from Rich onto Brigida, which I'm honestly a huge fan of this transformation, except for the small amount of health that you get from it. Rich trying to stay alive, but not going to farm that rally in time. Illicit picking up Fiscal. ITG finding Ruby. I can only assume in the well. Cloud picks up Rich. ITG finds Funkmaster with that whole hog, and the pressure coming out. University of Colorado, they're looking to capture the point once again, but it's ITG versus the world, as Mr. Qualaman currently on that run, trying to find anything, but another hook onto Bird Boys, able to take them out of the fight. Cloud picks up Liam Lizard. ITG finally falls to Daddy D, but Rich right behind onto Daddy D. One laser takes out another there in University of Colorado. They're gonna have to commit a pulse bomb, able to find Mr. Qualaman. It's gonna be toe to toe here, but it looks like Colorado, they're gonna be able to flip things back in their favor.
They do flip it, but this fight is still going on. If a resurrection can somehow come out from Slurpee, that would be huge. But now that they lose Rich, that's just, you got to back out. Save the Valkyrie for another day. And I think the big misplay there was Mr. Coleman, unfortunately, with those mines, was trying to shut them into that room. But most of them landed on the roof instead of actually on the ground. And then the Transcendence was committed before the Primal Rage was really doing much. And then Liam Lizard, it's not fun to be a Zenyatta into a Primal Rage Winston. It's just never a fun day.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit that Discord, but Zenyatta will not do enough damage fast enough to get that Primal Raging Winston out of there. So now we've kind of learned that the hard way here on stream. Liam Lizard, a person that I feel very often is on that Zenyatta slot. Even when we aren't seeing Zenyatta more consistently from everybody else, we see Liam Lizard kind of dancing around that hero, and very clearly look at the kill feed. It works. Takes Cloud out of the fight right away, and Daddy D gonna go for another Roadhog swap. Probably gonna look for a cheeky Vengeance hook. Yeah, I'm gonna have to miss the hook as well. Getting in the face of ITG, committing that whole hog early on. Gonna be able to find Liam Lizard at the start of things, putting the pressure onto the Tracer as well. Missile gonna have to recall out of there. Slurpee finds the Resurrection. Gonna be still a clean 6v6 here. Funkmaster is gonna be forced out of, no, excuse me, not gonna be forced out of that mech quite yet, but it will in just a moment be taken out there. So now one pulse bomb able to find that kill. Daddy D forcing Rich out, and Rich falls into the well. That is...
Goes off the map. Not even the well. Just fell off the side.
No, that was just right off the map. I think he tried to throw the bomb and flipped right off the map. I think that was a bit of an accident. University of Colorado, they're going to bring this 99 to 99, and they've got the numbers to make it 100. Overtime going to start to tick away, and ITG trying to touch, but just really able to do so. Somebody now on point. It's going to be 4v1. Fiscal taken out of the fight. And University of Colorado, they come back from a one-round deficit. It looks like they're going to be able to secure this third round as well. They're able to win not only the second, but the third round. Daddy D picking up a double kill to clean things up at the end of it. University of Colorado, they're going to take that first map.
We're going to do it in very close fashion. This is the St. John's that we have expected, but just a few missteps here and there cost them the first one today. But this is a series that I could expect to go the full distance, honestly.
Agreed.
So I don't think it's over yet. But one thing to note is that this is the first map loss that St. John's has had in a while. First one in about, I would say, 4 maps now. They did have one against Maris in that victory, but overall this season, this is only their second in 4 games. So that just shows you how dominant St. John's has been over the course of this spring split versus where they were in the fall. But yeah, that's just a number, it's only one more. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you give up 2 in this series. As long as you win 3 maps, doesn't matter what the map differential is. You just got to get the victory at the end of it all.
Yeah, of course, like you said, the only number you've got to be worried about is 3, and that's the amount of maps that you need to win. They're going to lose Ilios, but I mean, couldn't be any closer, right? They both take 1 map. They go all the way to the end of the line there. It's going to be 99 to 99 on Ilios well, and I mean, we talk about this a lot, at least we used to. We actually haven't talked about it on stream for a little bit. We've got a couple of replays while we kind of talk over what I'm about to say here, but I want to acknowledge that sometimes we talk about a team loses the control, and then they just roll the rest of the series, and I'm not surprised to see Rich here in this highlight. I mean, absolutely popped off on Lighthouse, found some insane kills, gonna hit the pressure, and we saw this live on stream already, taking out both Ruby and Cloud. ITG able to do a great job forcing somebody off point, and I think this is where he's gonna find that hook kill that actually Daddy D set him up for with that whole hug. He boops him right into position and finds the kill there. And St. John's, like you said, this is the team we're expecting, but plenty of times we've seen a team lose control and then just roll the next 3 maps.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. I think control is not very indicative of how the rest of the series can go. Like,
agreed.
It could be, especially if you can see a very big difference in skill level. But I mean, the only map that was one-sided was the first one that was won actually by St. John's. I think that was the most one-sided one.
Yeah.
On Lighthouse. Well, and Ruins were a lot closer. And I think one thing is we're not giving enough credit to Colorado. This was a very good Colorado team that has really stepped up a level too. I think both these teams have really elevated their game since week 8 of EGFC when we were back in the fall split. And there they did a great job at adapting. They did a great job of really kind of figuring out what they wanted to do on Ruins. And then the duplicate obviously did not work out there in that highlight clip that we saw. But the one that came out later on in Well was huge. That was a great one, and it kept them alive and it helped them win that map. So sometimes the highlights, you see some great plays, but those aren't the ones that necessarily determine the result of the game.
Yeah, of course. No, absolutely. Like you said, both these teams, they're on the up and up, they're on the rise. And right now, I mean, they're going to be going toe-to-toe. There's 2 teams on the rise. One of them is going to be rising just a little bit faster, just a little bit harder. And honestly, Colorado, I mean, they looked pretty clean there. But also of note, you mentioned this already, the only map that really felt one-sided was the one that St. John's won. So maybe Colorado, maybe they were just able to snatch this win out from underneath. We saw a very mild version of musical chairs where each map, we saw different variations of team comps from both of these teams. Colorado a little bit more, and St. John's, I think they only had a couple of swaps, if anything else, than that Widowmaker on Ruins. But I think had we not seen that Widowmaker on Ruins, Ilios could have gone a much different way. All due respect to Rich, I'm sure he could dunk on me in a 1v1 any day of the week, but his Echo definitely right now looking a lot stronger than that Widowmaker did.
I mean, the Widowmaker did work, right? It was finding the trade, it was finding the equalizer onto the Widowmaker on the other side, Cloud. But Rich wasn't able to find much after that.
Right.
And the rest of the team wasn't able to do enough. Unfortunately, Physical wasn't able to get a lot of value on that Tracer. They weren't able to find the backline out. And the Wrecking Ball does not work as well in tandem with a D.Va versus a Winston D.Va who can jump on a target together at the exact same time, because their distance or their movement abilities have about the same distance, different arcs, because Winston kind of just go up and then down, and D.Va you can, you know, actually control your flight path, but you can end up at the same destination a lot quicker, and Wrecking Ball can just kind of run around, and it might be a little bit more difficult to follow if you are that D.Va player. And we know what our second map's going to be. We've seen it a few times on stream already. It is going to be Eichenwald. So while we didn't see a lot of Reinhardt this time around, maybe we'll see it on our second map.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love Reinhardt, if that's not already well known. I've got King's Row behind me. It's my favorite map in the game. I love playing Reinhardt on it. I love playing Reinhardt off of it. And honestly, this map pool this week, I almost wish I could have casted more games, because other than Temple of Anubis, this map pool is perfect to me. I love Ilios, I love Eichenwald, I love Rialto, and I love Busan, but Temple of Anubis, I just hate 2CP. No matter what map it is, I don't like the play style, I don't like the game mode. But personally, I mean, this is going to be a great map pool, and I really hope we see at least two of these teams, of the two games that we're going to be casting here tonight. I hope we see at least two of these teams really bring the heat and maybe take us all the way to Busan. Maybe take us even further, because there is a world where we end up on map 6. A lot of you were there to join us in that world just last week.
And I think that would be Oasis, but we gotta check
I believe
on that
so.
later to make sure. And
we got to get there first.
Yeah, we got to get there first. Exactly. I've seen Rialto twice already. We have not seen Busan just yet, which is disappointing, because I mean, downtown is such a fun map. I mean, I want to go there. I want to go to Busan. Looks like a very fun place.
Beautiful.
Unfortunately, kind of hard to travel to South Korea right now with things going on in the world, but we should be getting into a different country very soon, on to Germany with Eichenwald. And one thing we were talking about when I was with Shuttle earlier is, you know, it's kind of Reinhardt's home, but it's a very sad story that the fact that it's Reinhardt's home. I mean, he lost his mentor there, he lost his captain, but it's also where he became a member of Overwatch. So, you know, I wish there was more lines that were kind of directly related to his relationship with the map.
You know, absolutely. And something a little bit twisted on that is they just left his body there. And that has never sit well with me. At the end of the map, you see his mentor sitting in that chair, and I get it, the whole symbolic thing, but like, he's still in there. Like, that's pretty screwed up. Like, that's never really sit well with me. But yeah, I agree. We see Eichenwald, you know, in the lore of Overwatch, what little we know. The world kind of destroyed by Omnix. Eichenwald attacked, and the only reason Reinhardt survives is because his mentor kind of bites the bullet for him and gives his life to kill a couple of Omnix so Reinhardt can survive. But it was, if you haven't seen the cinematic, it's actually my favorite one. Not even because I play Reinhardt, it's just beautiful. Like, the first time I saw it, almost brought me to tears. It was really a great cinematic, and I love it. But Eichenwald is a map that doesn't have to call for Reinhardt, but we see him pretty often, at least on that first point. The second point and third point, or actually third point as well, but second point we see a little bit of wiggle room. Sometimes you'll see a D.Va ball. That's a little less common these days, but you used to see that a little bit. And as we move in, I could eat my words right here and everybody just hard sticks Reinhardt the whole time, but there's a possibility we could see a little bit of modification. Wrecking Ball has been, I mentioned that, pretty common on that second point as of lately.
Yeah, and I think something that we've seen from the two series that have previously bbeen on stream already tonight is that Wrecking Ball can work on the first 2 points of the map, but when you get to that third one, you struggle a lot, because
there's no room.
Yeah, it's very much narrow. It's a lot harder to get up to high ground. There's very limited options for high ground when you get to that third point. I mean, second one, as you see with this beautiful castle in front of us, there's a lot of options of where you can go, but once you actually get inside the castle, that's where things get a little bit more limited. We've seen a lot of Junkrat, which I think is great, even though I think Junkrat is not the most fun character to play against. I mean, situationally, he makes so much sense there, because again, like, you've got grenades, they can bounce off walls, they can do a lot of spam damage, and for the people who've been watching the last 3 games, I've basically said the same thing over and over again, because it works, it's true, and it gets the job done. I think both teams that have swapped to the Junkrat have actually ended up winning this map, so we'll see if any of those teams decide to pull it out later on, but we're going to see double shield come out, and this is an option here too. A double shield, yes, there's a double bubble, so a lot of doubles early on.
Yeah, it's an option. I'm not sure it's the best one, but I don't think it's the worst one either. There's definitely some volatility here on the first point of the map. I think it's not going to be working very well on second point. The second you lose possession of the cart, I feel like you're going to struggle to reset up until it's almost to that castle door. And I mentioned that Reinhardt, one of my favorites, but Junkrat, also one of my favorites. He's my favorite DPS to play. I love playing him, and like you said, I hate going up against him though. I want to be the only good Junkrat. I don't want anybody else to play him. But now at St. John's University, they've got that double shield, but McCree and Hanzo, I mean, they can rip through a shield pretty darn tootin' fast, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of shield damage coming out from the two of them. And with the help of Azaria, I mean, these shields could melt almost instantaneously if Colorado gets close enough.
And that's the thing, like, they can get close enough because they have the die potential, but their DPS are going to play a bit farther back, so it's kind of an interesting hybrid comp, but it could still work out really well for them if they play it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think best case scenario is you need to get your Zarya high charge, and then you need to just push in as a full team and just mow down the defenders. But right now, Fiscal on the Ashe now, so off that Tracer, able to find the first elimination onto Daddy D. Colorado, they are split like mad right now. We see Cloud kind of corner pinned in the wall there. Mr. Koalaman knows he's over there. He's going to be able to roll out. The pull is going to miss him by just a little bit. And the Zarya bubble going to keep the team alive a little bit. Fiscal taking a lot of damage, dropping down to 41 there for a moment. But St. John's University, they got a lot of ult charge out of that. Colorado, they got a little bit. They got that nano. But other than that, not a lot of ult charge coming from them. Pushing into this fight is going to be even harder than that last one.
And if you're gonna have the long range DPS, use it to break shields, and then you jump in. Don't just be shooting from afar because this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna lose that range battle.
Yeah, now you got a 5v6 again. Now it's a 4v6. The DPS line already gone. You hear the nano coming out, which, I mean, is a bit of a misplay there. Ruby is able to find Fiscal. Rich takes out Funkmaster, though, so that nano really did not find the necessary work, and now you've got to farm that ultimate all over again. So Colorado, they're going to have a couple more ultimates in just a second here, but Fiscal was eliminated, and had they waited, they probably could have pushed in on that rather than pushing in with that Winston. University of Colorado now going to go to the Rhine Zarya, which makes a little bit more sense to me here.
Yeah, it does. It'll be a lot easier to run here. The one thing that it does work out for using the nano is that you actually get the gravitic flux out very quickly. So that's something that I just even have to spend time.
Also a swap.
Yeah, building up. And now they're going to use the bongo, as it's known, the supercharger, and that's going to be a lot of damage to stop Colorado from really being able to move in.
Yeah, that is going to be an insane amount of damage. No Zarya Bubble's going to be able to survive that very long. And another reason they may have committed nano there is because Bird Boys is going to swap over to that Ana, I believe. I may be wrong on that, but I think they were just... Lucio, excuse me. I thought they were just playing the Ana, but either way, Colorado, they're going to be stopping out of the Reinhardt, which is going to change the momentum. They get the Lucio out, they're going to be trying to push in. We see a lot of ultimates coming out. The Immortality field taken out by Bird Boys, who sends it maybe just a little bit too deep. Cloud is able to pick up Fiscal, but going to be taken out by Rich, who's now on that McCree all their own, and Illicit taken out as well. Here comes Daddy D and Bird Boys, able to find two, but Rich picks up a quadruple kill onto the McCree. That is going to stall Colorado almost instantaneously. A great high noon coming out. Rich trying to make it a 5K, but Ruby takes themselves out of the fight. University of Colorado, they commit one ultimate there. Excuse me. Yeah, they commit one ultimate there, I believe. Ruby had the grab, if I'm not mistaken. Are they only 30% to grab?
I think they were running double bubble before, so I think they used it at some point during that fight, but it was the duplicate that was what really came out on top. And Fiscal, I was gonna say, they have a bob, but now it's offline.
Yeah, that's great, and the Dragon's gonna force everybody onto point or away from us. It's gonna split up St. John's University here. Funkmaster just holding down left click, swinging like a madman. Illicit finds one, Ruby finds another. Bird Boys takes out that Immortality field. Funkmaster finds Mr. Koalaman, and St. John's University, they are just being cleaned up here a little bit. It takes 3 minutes and 20 seconds, I believe, but University of Colorado, they are finally able to crack this open, and Rich just has to accept defeat there on that fight. You're a critical condition. You can't take that 1v6. Colorado, they've got the wheels moving. Are they gonna be able to take this all the way?
They definitely can. I think the biggest thing is that they build up grab dragon, so they use both ultimates pretty recently, but not in tandem. And there is no defensible on the side of St. John's University. But in the meantime, while they wait for those to be built up, they can just run in with this ruthless aggression.
Yeah, now they just get to roll in, and the Shatter gets eaten on the stones. That is going to be unfortunate, because that would have been at least a 4-hitter there, and now ITG and Rich are going to be able to find some eliminations. Rich picks up the tank line as well, making a triple kill. The Echo is just, I mean, incredible so far. We see this coming out. We saw it already on Ilios. We're seeing it here as well, and the pressure is nothing short of crazy so far.
And this time, if you're physical, you got to make sure you stay alive, because that was your fight winning condition before of the bob on the last point. You couldn't stay alive. You're out of position a little bit. Now you're taking this offering, you're almost falling once again, and now it's actually going to be Rich that falls first. So once again, this team for St. John's are going to be at least a one-person disadvantage as this cart rounds up the corner.
Yeah, Mr. Koalaman looks like they're trying to think, do I take this 5v6 or do I wait it out? And it looks like they're going to be able to wait it out just a little bit. And Mr. Koalaman gonna pile drive in, gonna throw Bob up into the air as well. Rich finally returning to the fight. Here comes a high noon, I believe, from Cloud. We're gonna see the beat drop from Bird Boys as well. Gonna be a great zoner, takes Bob out of the fight, but trading high noon for Bob, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Rich finding Illicit as well. So now we're looking even better for St. John's. They have to stall for only 2 more minutes. Here comes the grab. I don't think we're gonna be seeing the Dragon, so that grab, quite the commitment, found 5, but there was nobody there to follow up off the back of it. A huge misplay there from Ruby.
Yeah, she just uses it a little bit too soon. I think the idea is, Daddy D was probably like, oh, my dragon's almost there, and it was literally coming online right as the grab ended. But Ruby died immediately after firing it off anyway, and now she swapped to the D.Va. So they're going to see if they can try to contest the high ground a little bit more now that they have more mobility, able to fly up into it. And we've seen some great self-destruct D.Va bomb plays early on. You just throw the D.Va bomb in, and then the Shatter comes up after. So we'll see if it comes out this time. But right now, it's just all physical.
And the DPS lineup for St. John's, I mean, they are the difference maker of this matchup so far. They end up losing Ilios, and I've said this already, I think it may be in part to that Widowmaker pick, but when they are on characters they are comfortable with, I mean, they are on nothing short of a rampage. And the rest of St. John's, of course, doing a great job, but that's 3 fights in a row that have been stalled almost entirely by the DPS line of St. John's.
And now if you use the Amp Matrix super quickly, just use it right here where it actually is, yeah. But they're not gonna use it, they're actually gonna use the Gravitic Flux, and I don't know if that's the right play.
Yeah, the Flux was risky, but Rich, I mean, come on, with the follow-up, finds the support line. ITG picks up Ruby, Mr. Koalaman finds Daddy D, Cloud picks up Liam Lizard, but I mean, at this point, it's a 1v6 in your critical condition. Mr. Koalaman finds it. I agreed with you there, though. I didn't think that was the right play, but I mean, they made it work.
It works, and they get kills, but they don't kill enough time off the clock, so there will be a recontest, and that could have been a Flux 9 if they had just done that. Instead, now they're going to use the Amp Matrix early on, but they're going to have a Dragon Storm right in their face.
Yeah, Daddy D is going to just huck those dragons up there, and it looks like nobody's going to bite the bullet because of it. Bird Boy's, however, taken out from that Amp Matrix. Fiscal finds Daddy D, and we hear a high noon from Cloud, a bit of desperation, trying to find even part of an elimination, but going to have to cancel it to try and stay alive. Here comes their Nano Boost onto Cloud, I believe?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely an unusual thing there. I lost the animation on my screen for whatever reason, but Cloud able to find ITG and St. John's. They had this fight. They had it in their hands, and it may slip through. Cloud can pick up even one more elimination, in particular onto that support line. There it is, onto Slurpee. This could be huge for Colorado. Mr. Koalaman is able to find Daddy D with a massive minefield. Now Mr. Koalaman taken out by Cloud. The Bob coming in from Fiscal, a desperate attempt to stall the point. That may be all they need for St. John's to recontest here. We're going to see a Shatterer from Funkmaster in an attempt to hit the Bob, but it was boofed simultaneously by Bird Boy, so it's not